going to be on the show. We've also got Cody, who's going to be on the show. We've got Karrion taking on Nakamura, and both of these guys are heading in different directions. So this is going to be the only time I believe they're going to face, certainly in the immediate future. So this isn't the start of the feud that we thought it was going to be, because Nakamura, I believe, has been drafted over to Raw. So this is going to be his final appearance on SmackDown for a foreseeable future. I mean, maybe ever, who knows? But yeah, we've got Karrion against Nakamura. We've got Cody Rhodes. We've got Bad Bunny. And as I said, I believe we're in Puerto Rico. So it's definitely an interesting show tonight. We are about 24 hours away from Backlash. Backlash tomorrow should be a lot of fun. I think the card looks all right. I'm very excited for Cody against Brock. I think that that's a match that didn't see that one come in. Thought they probably would face at some point, but certainly wasn't expecting them to face anytime soon. And here we are with Cody Rhodes against Brock Lesnar. I mean, any Brock fight is going to feel like a big deal. And I think people feel kind of sorry for Cody after not winning at WrestleMania. So it's a very interesting dynamic there, and one that I think has grabbed people's attention. Obviously, you've got the whole Solo Usos, are they going to turn on each other situation? That's very interesting. There's a lot, actually. There's a lot to get your teeth into, because I really like Bianca against Io Sky. I think Io Sky's got a great chance of winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. Or what will become the SmackDown Women's Championship, because obviously Bianca's moving to SmackDown. And Rhea, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion, she is taking on Zelina. I don't think Zelina's going to win. And I can see Rhea going to Mondays and becoming the Raw Women's Champion. So Zelina against Rhea doesn't grab me quite as much, because I just think that Rhea's winning that one. But Bianca Io, I think, is interesting because, you know, there's maybe a slim chance that Io could get the win. I think Io is a great talent, and we are definitely teasing like a bit of division within Damage Control. Putting the belt on Io and having Bayley be super jealous could be quite an interesting way forward. I don't think it goes that way. I think we'll see Bianca retain. I think we'll see Rhea retain. But even so, you know, look, there's some stuff to look forward to. And then, of course, we've got the draft, haven't we? The draft comes into effect on Monday. So, yeah, we've got lots to get our teeth into. Aseeb said, I'm confused. Why did Triple H say the winner from SmackDown and Raw will face each other? Didn't he say the world title is exclusive? I didn't hear him say that, to be honest. To my knowledge, it is exclusive to Raw, so I'm expecting it just to be the case that it's going to be Raw superstars that are going to compete for it. So I didn't hear him say that. If he did say that, then there's probably just a chance it was a mistake. Because, yeah, you know, they want a title for Raw. That's the whole purpose of the belt, is so that we can have a champion on Raw and Roman on SmackDown. I mean, they said that belt would go over to the brand that Roman wasn't on. So it's probably just, if he did say it, and I didn't catch him saying it, but if he did say it, then it's probably nothing more than a mistake. Juan said, love the videos. Can you shout me out? If you would, I would be happy. And I would like this video. Well, you don't have to like the video. But yeah, I'm happy to do that, of course. Juan Ramirez, shout out to you, my friends. Hope you enjoy SmackDown and Backlash and appreciate the support. Matty said, apparently they're doing a tournament for the new World Championship over both brands, and it starts on Raw. Okay, I don't know where this news has come from. I haven't seen this news about it being both brands. If this is the case, then it doesn't make sense, because I agree with you lot. I mean, I saw and heard the same thing being said, that wherever Roman was going, this belt was going in the other direction. I mean, the only thing I could imagine would be that if they are going to open it up to SmackDown stars, if they are doing that, then if it's a SmackDown star that wins, I can only imagine that SmackDown star moves to Raw. The end result is that whoever wins that belt is going to be on Raw. Like, it's a Raw belt, isn't it? So, I don't know. I don't know why they would look to confuse it by including some SmackDown stars. Because I agree, that's just confusing the matter for no reason whatsoever. But, yeah, I mean, look, Roman can't compete for it. It's going to be a Raw belt. If they are going to open it up, as I said, as long as the end result is whoever wins it is on Raw, then I suppose you could open it up to anyone, couldn't you? It doesn't matter if someone from NXT wins it, as long as once they've won it, they then get moved to Raw, and that belt is on Raw. Then it doesn't really matter who gets it. So, but I don't know. I didn't hear him say this. I don't know where quite this has come from. But we'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out on Monday. Right, let's go down. Rumors are that Brock could squash Cody at Backlash. Do you think that'll happen? Hello, James. I don't think that could happen. Yeah. I think it could happen. I don't know that it will happen. I think it could happen because WWE are always looking at ways to keep you on your toes. Obviously, they showed that at WrestleMania when I think a large chunk of us thought Cody was going to win. And, WWE had other plans. And so it could be a case that they do have Brock squash Cody, and Cody then issues a rematch for Night of Champions and works hard and goes into it as an underdog because he got destroyed in the first one, and goes into Night of Champions, grinds out a win and picks up a victory. And, then that levels it maybe at 1-1. And I think Money in the Bank is after that. So maybe we don't get a chance to get the rubber match. So it kind of leaves it as a 1-1 kind of a situation. I think there is a chance that, I don't know about the squash. I don't know if you'd want to do the squash. But I think there is a chance that you could definitely have Cody lose. I think there's a great chance Cody loses, because if Cody could lose at Backlash and then win at Night of Champions, and it was a conversation I had with Tommy on the Wrestling Escape Pods, where we were talking about the fact that that they could go that way, because you probably aren't going to have Cody win the world title, right? The new one. And you're probably not going to have Brock. I think for a lot of people, it's Finn or it's Seth, or you might be looking at Austin Theory, or you might be looking at Owens or Sammy, or, one of those kind of names, AJ Styles. Although saying that, I can't remember where AJ's gone now. But anyway, so we're looking at potentially it not being Cody and it not being Brock. So they could potentially face again at Night of Champions against each other. I don't think you would want Brock to lose twice in a row. So you might want to look to make it 1-1. And so Brock could absolutely win in Backlash, yeah. Whether it be a squash, to be honest, it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but sometimes WWE want to make you angry. They want you to be upset, right? They want that reaction. WWE look to get certain reactions, specific reactions from the audience. And, there's a rumor that went around that when it was Fiend against Seth in Hell in a Cell, and the fans were chanting refunds and the fans were hating on that match, apparently Vince backstage was just laughing his head off, loving it, just loving it. He apparently got the reaction. I read a report that said he commented that he got the reaction he wanted to get. Now, whether that's true or not, he could have just been, yeah, this is what I wanted. Could have been just playing it off, But I've no doubt that they want you to be annoyed at times. Look, they had to know what they were doing when they had Kofi lose the title to Brock in like 7 seconds. They had to know that that was disrespectful, and they had to know that was going to upset people. And that was by design. I'm sure that was by design. I really believe that, because there's no reason why you wouldn't do Brock Kofi in like a proper match. The fact that they did it in like 7 seconds and that's how Kofi Mania ended, I think was by design to upset people. And I think it was a way of building sympathy on Kofi, because you feel like he deserved better. And I think it was a way of getting heat on Brock, because how dare he, win the title back in 7 seconds. And I think that was done by design. So if they do squash Cody, it could be that it's by design, and it could be that they want you to be upset. They want you to be upset. They want you to feel like they're burying Cody. It's quite clever if you think about it. They want you and Twitter to think they are burying Cody. They want you to think that he will never win a world title. Oh, they'll never put a world title on Cody because he's come from AEW, and they're holding the AEW thing against him. When in reality, they've got every plan in the world to put a world title on him. They're just making you think they don't have a plan to put the world title on him. So if they do the squash, it could be to play into that narrative. It could be so that people go running around going, look, Cody went back. He lost at WrestleMania, right? Now he's just been squashed by Brock. What, you think they're treating Cody well? Like, wake up. You think they're going to make him a world champion? Wake up. Well, guess what? By the time we get to SummerSlam or get to, I don't know, WrestleMania next year, he will be a world champion, right? And I think that this is where they can outsmart some of the fans sometimes. So I wouldn't get upset about it if he does lose by a squash, right? Because it could be that it's just playing into that narrative. So yeah, I think there is a chance, and I think there'd be a good reason to do it as well. Because I think, as I said, if you can build up sympathy for Cody, if you can make it seem like the Office is against him, man, there's money there. There's money. Do I need to remind you what the Attitude Era was? The Attitude Era was Stone Cold standing up to Mr. McMahon. It was Stone Cold standing up to the authority, right? You're telling me that if we do a story where Cody is being held back by the Office, that's not going to grab attention? Oh, let's go. You're telling me you don't want to see a Triple H Cody feud? You don't want to see Triple H and Cody having it out about destroying the throne and all the shots that were fired back and forth? Why not use that for a story? And if Cody gets squashed by Brock, does it potentially open up a door that allows us to kind of then start exploring a little bit of why? Obviously you can't say you're booking me to lose, right? You obviously can't come out and say that, but you can, there's ways that you can present it. There's things that you can do. So yeah, I think there's a chance of the squash. I don't know that it goes that way, but I wouldn't get upset if it did go that way, because as we said, it could be that they're playing chess when we're playing checkers kind of a situation. Outlaw Angel said Cinco de Mayo, yes. That's this weekend, isn't it? So, yes, happy Cinco de Mayo. And we're in Puerto Rico. So, I should imagine there's going to be lots of festivities. I'm actually really excited to see what the show's going to look like, because I think it's going to feel a little bit different this week to different countries, so that you get different flavors, I think whenever they come over to the UK, they don't do enough of making it feel like they're in the UK. They show some shots of Big Ben, they show some shots of Buckingham Palace and all that kind of stuff, but they could do a lot more. I mean, back in the day, there used to be a black taxi on the stage and big Union flags and whatever. But, you could probably do a little bit more than that as well to just give it that kind of UK vibe. And now, if we're in Puerto Rico tonight, let's do something to make it feel different. It's such a shame that every arena that we go to just feels like the exact same arena as the week before and the same arena as the week before. It's done on purpose. There's no way that that's not done by accident. It's done by design, but I just think it's a missed opportunity. Listen, if you're in New York, that's very different to being in Texas. If you're in Texas, that's very different than being in LA. If you're in Florida, that's very different from being in Ohio, I think we could make each show just feel a little bit more special and a little bit more connected to the place that we're actually at. And certainly if we're going to a different country, so hopefully we get something like that tonight. I want a little bit of, Puerto Rican flavor. I'm sure we'll get loads of that for the pay-per-view tomorrow. So, Ashton said, did you get my Backlash predictions? I don't know. Did you email them over? Yes, I did. I can see I've got them here. So, again, members, if you want to send in your Backlash predictions for tomorrow, I'm going to group all of those together, and we're going to try and get another video done. I did do a members stream on that. Days, will you do UFC 288 and Backlash tomorrow? No, we're only doing Backlash tomorrow. Trini said, Days, you make good points, but WWE spent so long bad booking without long-term plans, they haven't built back up enough good faith to ask fans to trust in that process. No, it's a really good point, but to be honest, I don't think they care if you trust in it. It's not about you trusting in it. You're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, because there's plenty of times where they have, like, you know, screwed someone over and not gone back to it, right? I mean, loads of times. But if this is the plan for Cody, they don't want you to be having my approach to it. They don't want you to have my thought process. They want you to be upset. So if Brock does squash Cody tomorrow, get upset. They want you to be upset. And then we'll just wait and see, won't we? If they do, then eventually go and put the title on him. I think there's no doubt in my mind, no doubt, that the whole AEW thing is just a load of nonsense. I think it's just the biggest load of nonsense. I do not think that they are holding on to these grudges. I think there's only one thing they care about, and it's money. If they can make money, then that's all. That's it. That is it. Like, there's not all these like real complex layers to the McMahon family or Triple H. More so Vince than Triple H, but it's about money. It's about money. What is going to generate us the most cash? And whatever that is, they'll go in that direction. I mean, they brought back Ultimate Warrior like twice after he like held them up for money and everything, and he was like a right douche. Because they thought they could make money. Vince hated Hulk Hogan, hated him, because, you know, he jumped over, left WWE, went to WCW. He was a big part as to why that Attitude Era was the way that it was, you know. And Vince hated him, but again, they knew they could make money by bringing him back in 2002, and so back he came, you know. There's lots of examples, and I think if they believe they can make money with a champion Cody, if they think there's money to be made by putting the belt on him, they'll do it. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever. They will absolutely do it. So this concept that like, oh, they're screwing him over because he was set up AEW and now you know, this is payback. Oh, God, it's weird payback, isn't it? Don't you think it's weird payback having him win the Royal Rumble and main event a WrestleMania, and now he's in a feud with Brock Lesnar? Do you know what payback would be? Paying him and sticking him in catering, right? That would be, or like not taking him at all, not paying him at all, right? That would be payback. To have him and not use him, that would be payback. But it's a weird looking payback to make him a Royal Rumble winner and a WrestleMania main eventer. That's pretty weird payback. And now he's in a red hot angle with Brock Lesnar, and, you know, is one of their biggest merch sellers. I don't, to be honest, I don't even know if anyone's making that argument that they're burying him anymore. And no one's serious anyway. There's probably kids and whatever, kids and idiots. But I'm talking about anyone serious out there. I don't even know if that's an argument that's being had. But for me, it shouldn't be, because they're not burying him. So if that's my mentality and that's my starting point, if he loses in a squash to Brock, I can see why you would do it, right? I can see why you would do it. And I think it would be to upset a load of people, get them angry, knock him as far down as you can, and then you can start building him up. You can't build him up unless you knock him down. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to go that way. It's a great question, though, James, and a great point from Trini, as always. Kappa said, Days, Triple H, nice, HX3, said both brands for the title. Is he mad? I don't know where this has come from. I don't know if he said this on Friday and it just passed me by. or Monday, and it just passed me by. I don't remember us talking about this on NXT. I don't remember us talking about this on AEW. So I don't know if this is like a little clip that's come out on social media and I've just missed it, or I don't know. I mean, look, all I can tell you is what I said earlier. The winner of this tournament is going to be the world heavyweight champion. They will be on Raw. Okay. So if we're going to allow SmackDown stars in, if the end result is that if one of them SmackDown stars wins, they go to Raw and they become the champ on Raw, well, nothing changes, does it, in all fairness? The only thing that changes is they just have to get traded. And maybe they get traded for Cody. Maybe this is how we're going to do the switch, you know? So could it be a case that this is all part of that plan, you know? Could it be that someone from SmackDown wins the title? Oh my God, we need to get them to Raw. Who can we swap with? Swap with Cody, Bish, Bash, Bosh. So is he insane? Probably not. Have they confused fans? Yes, because they've confused me as well. It doesn't make much sense right now, but there is a way forwards. Thomas said, did you see Grayson Waller beating Roman at Mania? No. I mean, he might do it one day, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Normally, if you come up from NXT, we've said this before, when you come up from NXT, it is very rare for people to hit the ground running, right? Because, and we've said this so many times, and I'm not saying like, you know, I'm repeating myself again. I'm just saying that this is something we've said, right? I'm not saying anything new here. If you come from NXT, you are coming from a very different world. It is a very, very different world. It's like being the manager of a corner shop, right? So you've got your little corner shop and you can do everything yourself, yeah? You can stock the shelves whilst there's no customers, then go behind the counter and you can serve. And then, like, as it goes quiet and dark and you lock up the shop, you can count the money and you can cash up, right? And you can do all the things you need to do, place your orders whilst it's quiet. If you run a corner shop, you could pretty much do it on your own, I would imagine. Maybe on the weekend you might need some, you know, extra help, but by and large, probably do it on your own. It's like being the manager of a corner shop and then becoming the manager of a supermarket. And all of a sudden, you can't do it on your own. You can't do all the stocking of the shelves. You can't do the cashing up. You can't do the serving on the counters. It's too busy. There's too much. Like, it's the same job, but it's so much bigger that there's going to be a degree of adjusting, and there's going to need to be some help that you're going to have, right? So for me, I think that's a good comparison of what it would be like to be in NXT and what it would be like to be on the main roster. It's the same job, but it's also a different job, and you need more help and guidance, and you need to find your feet and you need to get settled in, right? And I think we've seen that with the likes of Karrion Kross, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Like, you can kind of go through a list of people that have come up from NXT that have been put with certain people or put in little feuds. You know, I mean, look at LA Knight. LA Knight came up, he was Max Dupree, right? Because I don't think people understand. I don't think they realize. I don't think they think about, you've gone from working every Wednesday in the same building in front of, 300 people? Something like that. To now traveling the world, living in hotel to hotel, not even your own house, but going from hotel to hotel, traveling the world. And it is the world, because they've just been in the UK. Then they went back to America. Now they're in Puerto Rico. Sometimes they go to Saudi. We got Saudi coming up soon. So it is the world, right? So now you're traveling the world. You're going from hotel to hotel. All of a sudden, the ratings are not 600,000. They're 1.8 or 2.2, right? The exposure, the commitment, social media, all of that stuff, so much greater, right? Even the kind of like obligations, signings, you know, stuff you don't even think about, you know, going to local stores and doing meet and greets, doing like charity work. I would imagine just everything just gets turned up to 11 when you move to the main roster. So I kind of feel like Grayson is going to need a period to settle in. The idea that he's going to be facing Roman for the title anytime soon is alien to me. I can't get my head around like how we would do it. I mean, we managed to get Brock there, but like Brock was with Paul Heyman. Brock was a very special project. They knew they had something special with Brock, and they put Paul Heyman with him. You know, Paul Heyman used to run ECW for that period in 2002. All he had to worry about was Brock Lesnar. So in many ways, Brock was the same as a promotion, right? Like they put Paul Heyman on him, and like he really guided him and helped him acclimatize, told him what to do, did a lot of talking for him, so Brock didn't have to worry about promos, all this kind of stuff. I think with Grayson, you know, you're gonna ease him into things. You're gonna have him cut some promos, put him in a few feuds, see if he can, you know, get going, whatever. But the idea that he's going to be built up and be able to face Roman at like next year's WrestleMania or whatever, or even in 2 years' time, I think is just going to be too soon. So, yeah, I think it takes a lot to adjust coming from NXT than I think some people think about. I think there's a lot of people that just want them to be like, bang, oh my God, we can bring up Braun. He could be United States champion. It's like, whoa, chill. We don't need to go so fast. We don't need to go so fast. Could we? Sure. Have we? Sure. If you think about Paige, you know, we called up Paige, made her women's champ on the first night, you know, so I mean, that's very different from beating Roman at the moment, you know. The women's title, the Divas belt back then, I mean, we all know what the Divas era was like, right? To compare that to what Roman's doing right now is chalk and cheese. But, you know, we have called people up. We have moved quick with them. Like, but I think by and large, general rule of thumb is that you want to get them settled, get them acclimatized, get them bedded in. I mean, what have we done with Mia Yim? What have we done with Candice LeRae? What have we done with, as we said, Johnny Gargano? What have we done with Dexter Lumis? What have we done with Karrion Kross? What did we do with Keith Lee? You can just go through this long list of people that get called up that are big stars in NXT, you know, former champions in NXT that got nowhere near like any kind of main event picture when they were on that main roster, or even whilst they're on that main event roster. I don't even know if we've told a good story with Karrion yet, to be honest. So I think there's a settling in period that we as fans need to sort of grant the call-ups, and then, you know, once 6 months has gone by or something along those lines, then, you know, we should be looking at them, you know, getting involved in some sort of feud. And I don't know what time frame you would put on them becoming like a world champion, but, you know, it's probably a couple of years, probably at least something along those lines. Get them bedded in, get them settled. There was another super chat I wanted to get to. This was Delwyn. Delwyn said, Triple H did say about the World Heavyweight Champion at a press conference today. Oh, okay. I didn't see the press conference today. Right. This makes a lot more sense now. In my head, I was like, I don't remember him saying this on Friday or Monday. And I don't remember him saying it on Friday or Monday. I don't remember us talking about it. So the fact this conversation has come out of nowhere made me go, okay. So it's from a press conference, okay? It doesn't make sense. Still really looking forward to it. What are your thoughts on Grayson Waller's move to SmackDown? Love the move to SmackDown. Love Grayson Waller. Big fan. Think he's got a bright future. I do think he'll be a world champion eventually. I think he's a great talker. I think that it was disappointing that they didn't go bigger with him at the drafts and didn't like announce him in a bigger way, watch out for this guy. Because to be honest, I mean, if you watch SmackDown, but you don't watch, if you watch SmackDown and Raw, and you don't watch SmackDown Lowdown or Raw Talk, you're not even going to know that Grayson Waller's been called up unless you're active on the internet searching for wrestling news. You're not even going to know that's happened. So right now, to a load of people, don't even know he's been called up. And a load of people, even when he is called up, won't even know who he is. So we're really starting from scratch with Grayson Waller. But I like him, and I know many of you like him, and I think you can see the talent that he's got, and he's a great talker. I think that he is someone that they really need on the main roster because honestly, there's not that many captivating talkers. I think this is why LA Knight is really connecting because there's not loads of people like LA Knight. There's not loads of people that you can give a microphone and they'll be that engaging, that charismatic that you go, oh, do you know what? I enjoy listening to this guy. Like, I enjoy hearing what he's got to say. Like, he comes out with some really good lines. And I think Grayson has got that ability. So, yeah, I really like him. I'm excited to see him. I wanted him to get called up. I'd love to see him in some really fun feuds. Him being a bit cheeky, as he always is. And see where we get to with him. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, Delwyn, shout out to you. Right, let's try and back. I want to get through some of these. Who do you think is going to take the title from Roman? I think it'll be Cody. Oh, I think it'll be Randy, says Off Tom. I don't think it'll be Randy just because Randy's had a pretty serious injury. And I think that he is going to take a while to recover from that. I mean, last we heard is he's still not anywhere near ready to return. There was rumors that he was going to be at WrestleMania, and he might have been at WrestleMania. It's just visiting, though. There was a hope that we would see him get involved in some way, but he didn't. And then, obviously, there was no rumors of him being in the draft. I wasn't expecting him for the draft. But the last report we saw said that he's just nowhere near match ready. So, I don't know. I can't see him coming back and then taking the title off Roman and being the guy to hold that top belt after such a big injury. I just can't see it. So I think that injury is what is going to hamper him. I think he would have been a great shout to have done it. No problem with Randy being that person, but because I think he's credible, I think that we're also working towards him potentially breaking Ric Flair's records. He's still got a few years left in him, or certainly felt like it did before the injury. But I think the injury now is a problem. I think the injury is a problem because I think all of a sudden now, I don't know what he's going to be able to. I don't know when he's coming back, and I don't know what he's going to be able to do when he comes back. Even when he comes back, you know, the ring rust is going to be very real. He's been out the ring for a year. I think it's been last May. I think he was done. So. Yeah, I'll go Cody personally. I think Cody is the one. I've always felt. Well, I say always. As soon as Cody came back, I felt that Cody was the one. And I really thought he was going to do it at WrestleMania. I did. And that didn't happen. And so immediately you go, okay, so they're going to get Roman to 1,000 days. And then they're going to do Roman Cody at SummerSlam. But then I must admit, even the drafters now made me go, huh? So even the drafters got me confused. But as we just said earlier, if Triple H has come out and done a press conference and said Raw and SmackDown stars are going to be able to compete for this title, right? If he has come out and said that earlier, he's either made a mistake. I haven't seen the clip. So he's either made a mistake. But what's more likely is that for some reason they've decided to include SmackDown stars. And the winner, if it is a SmackDown star, will go over to Raw. And as we said, maybe that potentially opens up a trade, and maybe then we could see Cody going in the other direction, because at the moment, Cody being away from Roman, that is a little bit of a problem, because I don't think too many people want to see him win this new belt, because this new belt doesn't mean anything. The belt that we want him to have is the one that his dad almost won. You know, that's the whole point of this story, to come back and win the WWE Championship, the one that he spoke to his dad about, the one that he showed us the picture of. Well, that's the one on the black strap that Roman has got. And at some point, he's got to get that belt. He's got to get that belt. For me, it's very simple. Cody's story does not finish until he gets that belt. I don't care what the design of that belt is, right? I don't color it pink. Call it the sparkle unicorn belt. I don't care. But that is the belt, right? That's the belt that goes back to the 60s. That's the belt that Dusty had his hands on. That's the belt Cody has got to win. So maybe it just opens the door for that. Thoughts trip. Oh, here we go. Sean said, Days, good day. Hello, buds. Thoughts on Triple H creative? We're almost at a year. Where can he improve? What do you think he's done well? That's a great question. I think that he what he has done well is he has tightened things, right? In the sense of, I think that he has made sure that a lot of the matches matter. You don't tend to get so many matches now that are just, I don't care who wins this, right? Under Vince, there was a lot of Xavier versus Butch. Next week, it would be Kofi versus Ridge. Week after that would be Kofi versus Butch. Week after that would be Xavier versus Ridge. And do you know what I mean? If someone was in a feud, then you would just get like a million matches between them build into the pay-per-view or something along those lines, right? And the problem is that when you're watching as much wrestling as what we watch, you just don't care. I just don't care. I don't care who wins. It doesn't matter. So many matches that are about momentum, right? Oh, this is momentum. This is, there's so many matches that are like, we're going to do a gauntlet match, and it's got all the participants in the elimination chamber in it, right? And we'll do this gauntlet match. And under Vince, there might not have been any stipulation. There might not have been any reason for it. It's just momentum, momentum. And I feel like we've kind of cleaned a lot of that up. There are still examples of us doing that, but not as many as when Vince was around. And I think what that means is that matches are kind of set up. Like, for example, tonight, we've got Karrion and Shinsuke. Well, that was set up, that's been set up over the past few weeks. So we know that, like, there's something there. There's a reason for them to fight, We're setting up matches a little bit better. And I also think there's less of that silly comedy as well, the Vince comedy stuff, the real silly stuff, the toilet humor stuff, the stuff that, like, if someone was to walk in and catch you watching, you'd be a bit embarrassed about, like, this is what you watch. You'd be like, I understand we got to do stuff for kids. And I always felt like that was just silly toilet humor, the kind of Miz and Morrison type whenever I think of that type of humor, I always think of, like, Bobby Lashley's sisters, Bayley's This Is Your Life, that kind of stuff, I'm all for comedy. Love comedy in wrestling. And there's some people that don't want any, but I love it. I think if it's done well, I think it's brilliant. I think it, if you can make people laugh and then moments later shock them, it makes the shock a lot more extreme. Because if you're just watching non-stop action, hard-hitting action, nothing really stands out. There's no peaks and troughs. You need different colors, different shades. You need light and darkness, so that you are, going on a bit of a roller coaster ride. 1 minute you're laughing, next minute you're crying. That's what I want from wrestling. I want to have a little bit of everything. I want to be shocked. I want to be entertained. I want to laugh. I want to cry. I want to all this kind of stuff. And wrestling has that ability to make you feel all of those things. And so I would never, ever, ever take comedy out of wrestling. But I do think that there is some real silly Vince comedy, which seemed to be only largely entertaining to him. And I think that Triple H has done a decent job of kind of stripping out the shows of that kind of stuff as well. So I feel like we're getting more matches that matter. I feel like we're getting a bit more storyline. You could maybe argue that we're getting a little bit more character development in places. I think that by and large, we've done a lot of evolution than revolution, You can't really sit here and say, well, he's changed the stage. He's changed the theming. He's changed a load of people's names. He's changed a load of moves. He's done this. He's done that. It's not like all these big dramatic changes. It's a lot more like little subtle things, things that, I don't know, maybe even to the casual fan, they might not necessarily notice that, like, there's been that much of a change. By and large, he's done a great job of taking that baton from Vince and still delivering the kind of product that we know and love, right? I mean, listen, the WWE product works. It's been successful for, since the 80s going back to the 60s. But so you don't want to lose its DNA. And he's done a great job of keeping the DNA. But what he's done is he's just tightened in certain areas. So I think there's been some really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Bloodline story in particular, I think he can take a lot of credit for. It started before him, but the whole Sammy stuff really got going under him. And obviously he brought back the likes of Bray. And all right, maybe the Bray story wasn't what we were looking for, but I think that's sadly down to Bray. I think Triple H brought Bray back and gave him the freedom to tell the story he wanted to tell. Just turned out that this story, unfortunately, wasn't as strong, in my opinion, as the Funhouse and the Fiend story. The Uncle Howdy reveal and all this kind of stuff just hasn't been as entertaining. That doesn't mean we can't get somewhere with it, though. And credit has got to be given to Triple H for bringing Bray back and giving him that freedom. So, there's definitely been some real positive stuff, but it has not been perfect, right? I would say what we did to Liv Morgan at SummerSlam was just one of the stupidest things I've seen. And these are such weird booking decisions that they don't feel like they're Vince either, to be honest. Like having her tap out at the same time that Ronda's shoulders are down. Now, maybe it was a bit of a botch by Liv. Perhaps she wasn't meant to tap as early as what she did. Perhaps it was meant to be a bit more, you do it at the same time type situation. Maybe it was meant to be 1, 2, and as that 3 comes down, that's when she's meant to tap. So that it's like, we don't know who won that match, right? We need to do a rematch type situation. But it didn't come across that way. It came across that she was tapping, the ref didn't see it, and as a result of that, she stays as champion, and the crowd obviously call her out for it. The crowd are like, you tapped out, you're not the rightful champion. You can't walk around claiming to be the champ if you've tapped out, right? And we've seen that you did lose that match. And so, she obviously was getting upset because the crowd were turning on her on that SmackDown after SummerSlam. And, that was messy, to be honest, and it derailed her title reign. Her title reign, I don't think ever really recovered after that. I don't think it ever really got back on track because I think in a lot of people's eyes, she wasn't the rightful champion. The rightful champion was Ronda. And until we did the rematch with Ronda and gave Ronda her chance to get that title again, that reign was doomed. And when we did the rematch, they ended up going with Ronda anyway. So, horrible title run. And not her fault. I mean, at least I don't think it was her fault. So that was a very early warning sign. Then I look at the cash-in. I think Austin Theory's cash-in is the worst cash-in I've ever seen. For him to have the opportunity to cash in for a world title and to waste it on a mid-card title that he doesn't win. I mean, it's mental. It's mental. It would have been fine if he'd have cashed in on Roman and just not won. If you didn't want Austin Theory to be champ and you didn't want him to have the briefcase, have him cash in on Roman and not win, right? Fine. You could have done that at WrestleMania. Imagine at WrestleMania after Roman had just beaten Cody, Theory comes running down, right? And Theory's cashing in. All of a sudden you'd be like, oh my God, are they going with Theory? Like it would have at least given another dimension, a distraction, another talking point, but we didn't even have that option because we took it off him so early and wasted it on a mid-card. We wasted it on a mid-card belt that Theory then a few weeks later ended up winning. It's mental. It's legit mental. Like, why didn't he just win it by cashing in? Why didn't he just win it by cashing in? I don't even know why he cashed in on a mid-card belt. It's ridiculous. But, whatever. I think Raw after WrestleMania was flat, and I don't think that was Vince's fault. I think the draft could have been presented better and a bit more engaging, because I think people were waiting for surprises in NXT call-ups. And I think a lot of those NXT call-ups happened on SmackDown, Lowdown, and Raw Talk, and they could have happened on the show. We could have made a bigger deal with Grayson Waller, could have made a bigger deal out of those NXT call-ups in general. I think there's more we could have done with that draft. Without even using extra people. I'm not even saying bring Bray back, bring Alexa back, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying with the people we actually used, we could have done a better job. Could have done a better job. Could have had Grayson. What could have I said on? I think it was the Wrestling Escape Pods. Could have had like right time for SmackDown's NXT pick. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome SmackDown's latest star. You know, you could have done a bit of a who's it going to be type thing, as like, you know, we're waiting to find out who walks through, and then like you have Grayson Waller come out, and then he could like cut a promo on the crowds. And listen, there might be a good chunk of people that won't know who Grayson Waller is, but you do have to do the odd thing for the hardcore fans as well. You know, the fans that do watch NXT, that are excited about NXT call-ups. You can do a little something for them. I don't think there was much for them during the draft. It was just Shotzi's going here, Natalia's going there. You know, they didn't even threaten to separate the Street Profits or anything. When you picked the Street Profits, you got both. When you picked Judgment Day, you got Judgment Day, with the exception of Rhea. But they ended up going on the same brand as Rhea anyway. I don't think there was any, you know, if you think about when they were like, oh, tag teams could split, factions could split. I don't think a single tag team or a single faction did split. I can't think of a single, not one, tag team or faction that did split. Right? It was the cleanest draft I've ever seen. It was the most surgically performed draft in the history of drafts. They go there, they go there, they go there, they go there. We'll largely do the NXT stuff away from SmackDown and Raw. Yeah, that looks good. You know, that could have been way more exciting. Way more exciting. Imagine the drama of splitting up the Street Profits. And look, could you have found a story to get them back together again eventually? Sure, you know. But there's things you could have done. There's things you could have done, right? So is his booking perfect? I would say no. Is it better than Vince? Difficult, innit? I mean, difficult because Vince got so much wrong, but he got loads right, you know? I mean, WWE is what it is because of Vince. You know, you want to talk about John Cena, Ruthless Aggression, Attitude Era, New Generation, Golden Era, WrestleMania, Royal Rumbles, blah, 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 blah. It's Vince. It's all Vince. It's all been Vince. Might not have been his ideas, but he's the one that okays it and oversees it and presents it and signs it off. So everything you know and love up until last August, June, July, has been Vince. So, you know, Vince got loads right. He got loads wrong. Is Triple H better? I'd say that he is delivering probably a higher percentage. The perception is that he's better. The perception is that he's better, and that's important. You ask the average person on the street that watches wrestling, is Triple H a better booker than Vince? I'm pretty sure they'll say yes. Is he better? I don't think we're going to know that answer for another 20-odd years, to be honest, because, do you know what I mean? He's all these ideas that he's got of like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do that. Right? Brilliant. Yeah, well, he's doing that now. The real test will be in 5 years when all of them ideas have been used up. And it's like, what new ideas have you got now? What you got now? What you got now? What you got now? And that's something I don't think people take into account with like WWE Creative, is that you could be an amazing booker. You could be one of the best bookers in this community on the internet, right? You could be like, oh man, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, right? Okay, well, you might be an amazing booker, but what are you going to do when that person gets injured? This person has to like take some time off, wellness violation or whatever. That person ends up leaving, right? You need to now redo the card. Can you redo the card? Like literally half an hour before a show or whatever. Like, this is where it becomes a challenge, because being able to like book your dream matches, I'd say that's the easy bit, but the harder bit is going to be doing it within certain parameters. For example, you know, Vince wants to push Omos, right? And he wants Omos over. It is your responsibility to get Omos over. You've got to have him red hot, right? So come up with 3 different ways that you're going to get Omos over, right? And that 2 of those ways might be, you know, shot out of the water straight away. Might be like, you can't have that person because I'm using them in this feud. You can't have that person because they're going on holiday or whatever. So that means we've got to go this way. And it might not be the way you wanted. It might be your least of the 3 favorite ways, but that's the way you've now got to go. And so now you've got to try and make that work and get them people over. You've got to write their promos and do all this kind of stuff. Like, there's so much of that goes on behind the scenes. There's so much of that kind of, you need to do this, but for this reason. You can't go that way because of this reason. It's hard. What you actually get on screen, at the end of it is what, once it's gone through all those filters, this is what gets spit out, basically. It might not be anyone's kind of dream scenario, but it's just the way the cards fall sometimes. So there's so many moving parts. We've seen travel delays recently, haven't we? We've seen travel delays. I think half the roster, was it, that couldn't get to a SmackDown the other week. What do you think they did in the creative department then? Panicked, I would imagine. But you've got to quickly rewrite the show and put on an entertaining show and also fit in with where you're trying to get to. You can't start new feuds or anything. You need an entertaining show. You can't start any new feuds because that's not the direction we're going. So, I would imagine working in creative is a very interesting challenge, but I bet it is a challenge. I bet it is a great challenge. So with all things considered, how does he compare to Vince? Well, until he's got some time served and he's been through all of those kind of dilemmas and he's run out of ideas or run through his ideas and now he's got to come up with new ideas. Until we've gone through that, I'd say it's hard to tell. But the early signs are great. I mean, it's certainly not took a step backwards. It's not got worse. You could make an argument that it's got tighter. But I would not sit here and say it's been perfect because I can list, as I have, a list of things that I would say just haven't kind of met the expectation of what you would hope for. But listen, I mean, if you was to say to Triple H, have you got everything perfect? I'm fairly confident he'd be like, God, no, of course I haven't. Who would expect me to get everything perfect? I mean, you can't, I suppose in a way you can't have that expectation, can you? That's a lot to expect him to book everything perfectly when, you're taking over from Vince McMahon. I mean, so listen, he's done great. That's the bottom line. He's done great. But I wanted to give a deeper answer because I can't agree with people that idolize Triple H and think he's perfect and think he's been amazing and he's been the greatest booker of all time and all that. And, you see these OTT opinions on social media. And I think for the reasons I've given, that's why I would say I don't agree with those. But he has done a great job. He has seamlessly took over from Vince. He is delivering some great numbers. And I think people are looking forward to the shows. And it's got like some good momentum at the moment. So I think everything's in a really good place. But it will be interesting to see where we are in about 5 years' time. And to be honest, I mean, we don't even know how this new company is going to affect things. We don't know if they're going to move to streaming platforms. We don't know if we're going to be on Fox. We don't know if we're going to be on USA Network. There's so many moving parts. It must, I mean, to be Triple H, it must just be, just getting pulled in every kind of direction. Do you know what I mean? There must be people, talent must want to talk to you, writers must want to talk to you, Vince probably wants to talk to you, Nick Khan must want to talk to you, press, media want to talk to you. Like, imagine being him waking up every day. You just wouldn't know if you were coming or going, would you? I would love, they should follow him around for a day. Don't you think that would be an amazing YouTube video? To follow Triple H around for a day. Just see what his day's like. Start at home. I don't need to be in the bedroom when he wakes up. I don't mind, but wake up. And then what does he have for breakfast? What time does he get up? Right? Where does he head to? I'm guessing he goes to the head office, right? What's his office look like now? Has it changed? They have shown his office in the past. But who's he calling? What's on his agenda? What's on his to-do list? What are we doing? Are we? I don't know what day it is, but are we booking a show? Are we going to the writing team? Are we talking to certain talent. Like, what does a Triple H day look like? Does he speak to Vince? God, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? You know, does he speak to Vince every day now? I wonder if he does speak to Vince every day. I don't know. I tweeted you the Triple H clip. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. I'll have a look at it after. Thoughts on the updated tweet from Tony Khan that AEW are into 60,000 with tickets going on general sale today? I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant for everyone. I think it's brilliant for us. It's maybe not brilliant for WWE, but it's brilliant for us because WWE need to feel threatened. If WWE feel threatened, everything gets tighter again, right? That siege mentality that we're under attack, right? We're no longer the only big dogs in this space now. All of a sudden, it's war again, you know? Not war in the sense of we're going to call them out, fire shots, you know, petty stuff like that, which I'm not a fan of. I know people like it. I'm not a fan of it. But like war in the sense of, you know, you need another bloodline. You need another bloodline story because what you did last year with Sammy was fantastic and it was engrossing and you got the reward for it, which was great ratings, great pay-per-view numbers, engagement on social media through the roof, and you got your rewards, right? Well, what have you done for me lately type situation, right? That's the way of the world, isn't it? You know, it's kind of like you can put on an amazing WrestleMania, but no one's going to care about last year's WrestleMania when it's time for this year's WrestleMania. No one's going to care about WrestleMania 39 when it's WrestleMania 40 time. What have you done for me lately? So well done on the bloodline story. Yeah. What are you doing for me right now? And if they feel threatened, you know, hopefully they're going to be searching for that next bloodline story, that next really engaging, successful story that keeps us all hooked and that really entertains us, you know? So I think it's good for the fans. It's great for AEW. I think it's great for the UK wrestling scene. And as I said, you know, I think even hardcore WWE fans shouldn't worry about it. If you're a hardcore WWE fan, just like, as I said, look at it in the sense of, okay, we see you. We see what you've done. Well done. How did WWE respond? I think WWE have already responded with Clash at the Castle and Money in the Bank. You can't tell me that's a coincidence. I don't buy it. I said last year, I think the only reason they've come over is because they knew AEW were coming to the UK. I don't think they anticipated Wembley, and I don't think they anticipated 60,000 plus and whatever. I think they, like me, expected Fulham, Craven Cottage, the stadium they own, the football team they own in London. So, you know, well done to Tony Khan for, you know, pulling a surprise, a swerve, a trick. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how WWE, like, you know, respond. So yeah, it's good. It's really good. I'm pleased for him. Has there ever been an attire you hated? A ring attire, but ended up liking? Do you know that we're in Puerto Rico? The show's beginning. I'll tell you the one that came to mind first of all, and that would be the polka dots. Dusty's polka dots. When I was a kid, I didn't hate it, but I remember looking at it going, it's a bit weird. Do you know what I mean? It, even as a kid, like, stands out, doesn't it? Different, strange. Why is he wearing that? We've got like a drone that's coming. I like this. When do we ever do this? We're in Puerto Rico. We were outside. The drone has come into the building. Oh, are they making out it's that drone? That's clever. That's clever. The CGI drone. So we've got like a drone shot to actually start the show, which I really like. We never do this. Crowd going crazy. 619. Oh, wow. So, hang on. Where are we? Is this different staging and everything? We don't even have like a full-on... this is so cool. This is so much better. It's like a Royal Rumble. It's like SummerSlam. Loud crowd, you know. So the entranceway here, it's not a big stage. It's just like it's just a walkway with like screens. Rey Mysterio, LWO making their way out. This is great. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. So we've started off with drone shots. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Royal Rumble. It reminds me a lot of SummerSlam. In like an arena, though. It's not a stadium, it's an arena. But the layout is that there's no big stage. The staging is Rumble, it's SummerSlam, it's small screens. Yeah, I didn't see this press conference. To be honest, I thought it was tomorrow. It's no secret, I am the underdog. Let's get that SmackDown Women's Championship and bring it to Puerto Rico. Is that the stage from now on? Nah, that'll just be the, like, traveling sort of stage. I don't even think it's the traveling stage. It's just maybe the stage they've gone with for this show. But no, I'm very confident this will just be an exception for Puerto Rico. It could be the traveling stage. It could be that they don't want to send that big stage over, you know? So, right, I don't even know what this is. Rey Mysterio. Zelina Vega in the ring. Michael Cole says, it's an incredible atmosphere. It looks like an incredible atmosphere. This is a great way to kick off SmackDown, said Jason. I agree. I agree. I mean, look at that. We've got... Is that Portuguese announce team? Welcome to Puerto Rico, WWE sign in the background. Yeah, I agree. This... okay, it's a promo. A promo from Rey. This feels so different. I love it. I love it. And the crowd, there's such an energy. They did a great job selling today at the conference, says Mike. I'd love for Randy to be a manager for someone, said Planet Dan. William said, did you get my video? Yes, I did. I got it, but thank you. Right, Ray talking about Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Yeah, I was talking about attires I didn't like. Dusty. I never hated it, but it's really grown on me now. I think it's just become so iconic. We've seen so many people dress in the polka dots. When you see the polka dots, you think of Dusty. Okay, it's weird, isn't it? It's like, that's another one that people, like, blamed Vince for and said he got wrong and, you know, he's making fun of Dusty and everything. But it's iconic now. It is iconic. Okay, Zelina was about to say something, and she's been interrupted. So, LWO interrupted by the Judgment Day. Yeah, Zelina Vega, she was like close to tears there. She had a big smile on her face. Crowd were cheering. She had her hand on her chest. She was... And then, boom, she gets interrupted by Finn, Dominic, Rhea. The Judgment Day. Green shirt guy. Is he there? Is he there? Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I expect him there tomorrow. That's great. That dude got given a shirt, LWO shirt. Dominic just snatched it off of him. That guy must be planted. Is he planted? That was so good. That is so good. Do you know, it's funny, actually, because when he gave that fan the shirt as Santos when he came down, I just thought, I didn't say, but I thought to myself, like, that's different. Don't see Santos doing that. You see Cody giving his weight belt out, but you don't see people handing out shirts on a SmackDown, or even at a pay-per-view, really. So I was like, that's different, you know. Didn't think too much of it. But now Dominic's just took that shirt and ripped it up. So I'm guessing that was a plant, but... And Dominic throws it on the ground. That's cool. Why would they go to Puerto Rico instead of Mexico, says Tim. I think Bad Bunny, maybe? Is Bad Bunny from Puerto Rico, and Damian Priest has Puerto Rican descent, so is Zelina Vega. But it's probably Bad Bunny's influence. Dominic went to talk and loud boos. You can't even talk, actually. You can't even talk. Oh, yeah, Green Shark guy. It's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. He can't even get a word out and they're booing him. I must say, the heat that Dominic has managed to generate and get. It's a great crowd. Wow. Wow, it's a great crowd. But yeah, the heat that he's been able to generate, or they've been able to generate for him, it's not unlike nothing we've ever seen, but it is definitely exceptional. I don't know what you're saying. They're talking in Portuguese, Spanish, something like this. I feel like we need subtitles. I feel like my TV is stuck on the Spanish announce commentary. Hang on, where's the English button? Hang on. Oh, here we go. I found it. It's Spanish. Thank you. Right, we've got Rhea standing up to Ray. How about you fight me? Zelina steps up to Rhea. She's so small, isn't she? How about you fight the both of us? So what, Rhea and Dominic tonight against Zelina and Ray? Okay, I think that's the match we're getting. Let's go, LFO for life, baby. It's great crowds. I know I keep saying it. Oh, yeah, said Michael Cole. He loves it. Oh, yeah. Right, I think it's Ray and Zelina against Rhea and Dominic tonight. Cheap shot by Dominic. It's funny, isn't it? Because I was talking about Triple H not doing momentum matches. This is a momentum match, but there is a bit of a caveat here. It's such a hot feud, you know? I mean, like, Dominic is so hated. He can't even talk without getting booed out the building. So this is definitely one that you don't mind seeing, right? And this crowd as well is so hot. They're so... So, yeah, I'm definitely got no issue with this match. Okay, so Ray and Zelina versus Dom and Rhea. We're just looking at what happened last week. Crowd are energetic tonight, said Theodore. They're great. It is a great crowd. This is such a good sign for tomorrow. I'm so excited for tomorrow. It's weird because it's a B show, it's not WrestleMania, it's not SummerSlam, it's not Royal Rumble. But I do think going to a different country, no offense, my American friends, but I do think going to a different country is just a good move. I just think that it's different. And sometimes you do need that different flavor, And listen, they're giving us that different flavor tonight. The Puerto Rican fans, starved of WWE action, turned up, man. Here's the OC. Okay, so the OC making their way down. Following is a tag team match. Michin with them, of course. Accompanied by Michin. Gallows, Anderson, the OC. They're going to be taking on the Viking Raiders. You might remember last week we were talking about the Viking Raiders getting jobbed out. So again, we spoke about how matches aren't just for the sake of it. This was set up last week. Viking Raiders were attacked by the OC last week, and that has led us to this match tonight. OC versus Viking Raiders. Days, AEW Access, just copy from WrestleMania Access. Is AEW beating WWE? WrestleMania 39 Access happened before the 2 Night Manias. Is AEW Access just copying WrestleMania Access? Yes. I didn't even know they were doing an AEW Access, to be honest. Did they do an Access this year? I actually don't know. I know there was a Superstore, and I know there was a Firefly Funhouse set that you could go and visit. I know that they had a Mattel booth, because Mattel did figure reveals. So I don't know that there was an Access, but I know there was a Superstore and Mattel and a few sets that you could see. But I don't know that there was like rings set up for you to have your picture in, and NXT. I don't think NXT were there this year. But that, for me, that's Access. And I've said before, Access is something that I would love to go to. It's the one thing that I would love to go to, because that's where you can see the actual whoever goes into the Hall of Fame. They normally have exhibitions for each person. So if The Rock goes in, there'll be a stand that's got some of his old gear, some of the, like, maybe the guitar that he played and some of the glasses that he's wore in the past, and just bits and bobs from his career, basically, that they've got from the warehouse. So you can actually go and see those items. Normally they do that for the people going in the Hall of Fame. Normally they have like a few Andre the Giant things there as well. They normally have that stand, which has got his hand imprint, so that you can like put your hand in and measure it against his. They normally have that. They normally, I know one year they had an elimination chamber that you could go inside and have your picture taken in. They normally have like old entrance ways. There's a place you can go to where you can do your own entrance. You can walk down the ramp and they'll play whatever entrance music you want, and you can pose and they'll film it, and then you can have the footage. Obviously, you can meet loads of wrestlers. There's Mattel that are there. There's old sets like Rowdy Roddy Piper's Pit, Firefly Funhouse. Things you can't really walk around them, but you can take pictures of them, and they're the actual sets. They're not replicas. They're the actual ones brought out of the warehouse. Just brilliant. I mean, how would you not want to go to that? That is like that's what I want the Hall of Fame, physical Hall of Fame that they keep saying they're going to build. That's what I want that to be. All of that stuff. Imagine, I just don't know why they don't do it. I don't know why there is not a building in Florida that has just got loads of actual wrestling merch from the warehouse. And just, you know, a place you can go to where you can have your picture took in a ring. Imagine that. You can get into a WWE ring and have your picture taken. Stand on the middle rope, maybe, with your arms in the air, or inside an elimination chamber and do the entrance and all that stuff you can do at Access. Why is there not a permanent building that's got that set up? I mean, would it cost money? Sure. But would it make money? I'd have to think so. I mean, with the number of tourists that go to Florida each year and, you know, the number of wrestling fans there are, that would be like a mecca for wrestling fans, WWE fans. It's one of those, I think if you build it, they will come. People will go to it. I would go to it. I'd live there. I'd work there. I've already said. I'll show people around. That'd be a great job. I would love that job. I think I was born for that job. Working there. I don't even care if you put me in the gift shop. I was born for that job. I could live in Florida. I could do streaming, watch-alongs and everything. And then in the daytime, I could go and show people around the exhibitions and all this kind of stuff. I'll happily take people's pictures. I ain't got no issue. Lovely stuff. So, do I think they will have copied that? Yeah. But do I think they should copy that? Yeah. I definitely do think they should copy that. Because I think it's brilliant. To make things more interesting, they should have Dom develop a crush on Zelina. That could be fun, John. Yeah. Just a little thing where he's like having a look and like Zelina, like Rhea, like gives him a nudge. Has to shake himself out of it. He's a ladies' man, isn't he? He can't help it. Can't help it. You can't blame him for having an eye for the ladies. Here's the lady that I've got an eye on. Everything I look for in a woman, right there. Valhalla. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Let's go. I love girls that don't smile. Look like they don't shower. And look like they will probably murder you in your sleep. That is everything I look for in a woman. NFL has got a Hall of Fame with all sorts of memorabilia from important moments or games, said Adam. If I was a NFL fan, then that would be a mecca for me. That would be a place that I would want to go to. I know that there's in football, there's a Hall of Fame here in England where you've got like, you know, old football strips from old England games and footballs from iconic matches and, you know, bits and bobs. Old kits, you know, Pele shirt and blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing like that for wrestling fans, is there? WWE fans? I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. With just how popular it is around the world, and we just don't have a place to go to. It's like, I mean, WWE in many ways is like a traveling circus, isn't it? Just goes from state to state, sometimes country to country, and you follow it around. There's not really like a home base. I mean, I suppose the only home base would be either the Performance Center in Florida for NXT, but I mean, that's not really much, is it? I mean, you can't even go unless you're going to watch NXT. There's no exhibitions to see or anything. Or the head offices. I mean, you might be able to get into the foyer. I think they've got some of the statues in the foyer, but I'd imagine the security would probably ask you to leave at some point. So, yeah, I mean, that's something actually I'd love for the new company to do when they take over. I'd love for them to build that. I mean, there's even a Simpsons land at Universal. There's somewhere physical for Simpsons, you know, the animated cartoon. There's somewhere physical for them to go. At Universal, there's a whole land where you can actually go into Moe's Tavern and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, something I'd like to see happen. How do you feel about the tournament format for the new title? Dude, I haven't seen it. I mean, it's only this stream that I found out that Triple H has mentioned SmackDown stars being involved. So, I don't have any thoughts on it at this stage. The only thing I would say is my understanding, as with many of your understandings, is that this title is going to be on Raw. So if SmackDown people are involved, I can only imagine that either they're not going to win it and they're just there to make up numbers, or they do win it and then they get traded or drafted over to Raw, and, that's it. Someone wins. Have they announced who's in it? I don't know anything about it. This press conference today has absolutely passed me by. I actually thought it was tomorrow. I didn't realize they were doing it today. Darwin said, I said last week, don't sleep on Puerto Rico. They're an electric crowd. The stage is so different. It's great. The last time they haven't been a pay-per-view since 2005 when Triple H... Last time they haven't been pay-per-view since 2005. Triple H won the WWE title. 2-night show is going to be great. What, the last time they were in Puerto Rico was 2005. A 2-night show, it's going to be great. Yes. I mean, look, what we're seeing tonight is a red hot crowd. I think a crowd that have been starved of WWE action. Live WWE action. I mean, if you're a WWE fan, this is Christmas, New Year's, birthday, everything, isn't it? All rolled into one. This is everything. This is so exciting. I mean, could you imagine that? Could you imagine being a wrestling fan in Puerto Rico and you find out that they're coming? Listen, I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny, right? I'm sure he makes great music. Genuinely, I'm sure he does, but I don't like what he does in WWE. But if I was Puerto Rican, I would just be so in love with him because not only is he the biggest, most streamed artist in the world, and I believe from Puerto Rico, so, I mean, he must be just a source of incredible national pride. But I think you can credit him for bringing WWE to Puerto Rico. I think it is him. I don't think if he was from Puerto Rico, I don't think they would be there. I can only imagine they've gone there because Bad Bunny, we can do something with Bad Bunny. Biggest streaming artist in the world. He's going to have a match. Let's go to Puerto Rico. We haven't been there in a long time. We can sell out the arena and, serve a market that we haven't served in a while. You've got to. They're also thinking, I think, AEW. They're also thinking we need to make sure that our presence around the world is tight here because AEW are now going around the world. And we don't want AEW snatching England and Australia and Puerto Rico and Mexico and Canada and all this. There's a war every week going on in America, but it's going on around the world as well. This is a battle of two global brands. It's Pepsi versus Coke. It's Starbucks versus another one. Do you have Cafe Nero? We have Cafe Nero. That's quite big here. I know Canada has Tim Hortons. They have started to come over here. I don't know if there's another American coffee chain that we have, to be honest. Starbucks one. Well done, Starbucks. Mackie D's versus Burger King. Yes. Dunkin' Donuts. I reckon if I was to Google it, I reckon we do have it somewhere, but it is not a thing here. Dunkin' Donuts. But yes, Dunkin' Donuts, that's a good one for you guys, but it's not one that's really here. I'm trying to think if I've ever actually seen a Dunkin' Donuts here, and I don't think I have. It is 100% nowhere near the scale of Starbucks here. I don't even know that it is here, but it's one of those where if you go on Google, it'll probably say there's 100 of them dotted around the country, but 20 of those will be in London. But I don't think there is. KFC, McDonald's, I like that one. Dunkin' has got good coffee, but not donuts. Really? That's weird, isn't it? I find Dunkin' Donuts such a weird name. Dunkin'? I've never dunked anything in my drinks. That's down goes Valhalla on the outside. I know people in the UK like to dunk biscuits. Not everyone. I've never been into that. I tried it when I was a kid. I didn't like it. I think it's one of those. If you do it as a kid, you probably stay doing it. But there's certain biscuits you can buy that you can dunk. 1, 2, 3. OC have won. Viking Raiders have lost. Lol. KFC McDonald's, it's like apples and oranges. Does this mean AEW have got plans to go to Puerto Rico? No, I wouldn't say they've got direct plans, but what I would say is that if you're WWE, you are just making sure that you strengthen those markets and that you build that brand loyalty. If AEW did go to Puerto Rico before WWE went back, it's not a good message, is it? People in Puerto Rico will be like, well, WWE don't come here anymore, but AEW have come here. So that could be a quick, easy win for AEW. Okay. Here we go. Triple H explained how we're going to crown a new champ. Here we go. So, Bianca. So, okay, we've got, there's a tournament on Raw. There's a tournament on SmackDown. The two winners of those two tournaments will face each other. Does it make sense? Is there going to be confusion? Yes, there is. What are my thoughts on it? What I said. I think if the SmackDown person wins, they're surely getting drafted to Raw. Surely. And maybe we swap them with Cody. But, you've got Triple H telling you one thing a few days ago, and then they come out and do this. This to me is another example of the booking. I mean, look, could there have been a situation that's changed? Could it be that we've had to pivot and just go in a different direction? Or has someone come up with an idea that's a bit better? And we've gone, okay, I know we said that like on Friday, but actually if we do this, it'll get us to where we need to get to. Yeah, okay, let's do that. But this is where it's just, it's clunky, isn't it? It's a bit clunky in places. You come out and you talk about how Raw needs a champion and this will be exclusive to a brand opposite to Roman, and everyone goes, okay. And then you come out and go, we're going to do a tournament on SmackDown. So you can totally understand why people are confused. Totally understand why people are confused. Right. Days, ice cream or slush puppy? Oh, ice cream, definitely. I don't mind slush puppies, but I've probably only had them a handful of times on hot days, normally by the beach. You might go to like one of those little shacks that sell ice creams, whatever, and they've got a slush puppy machine. It's not the kind of thing you would have like normally at home, whereas ice cream, we have that at home, so... If I had to lose one, I'd lose slush puppies. Godfather So said, Days, I'm blazing that thick, creamy blueberry buds. I had Bad Bunny bring those thick Latinas out tonight to shake their cha-chas. Bobby Heenan wore the neck brace best. Thank you. Thank you, Godfather So. Thank you. Bianca on mute. Bianca has come into the ring. We're going to see. I don't know what she's doing, actually. I mean, obviously... She has got a match with EO tomorrow, so guessing we're going to get some damage control right now. Puerto Rico is within the United States. It's a territory, but it's not an official state yet. Yeah, funny you should say that. We spoke about that. We spoke about that during the Wrestling Escape Pods. It's not a state, it's a United States territory. The people born there are American, all this kind of stuff. It's irrelevant, right? Because it's a place, it's a destination, right? And it's a place and a destination WWE haven't been to for a long time. So it's a case of those people, if WWE don't go back to them and AEW get there first, I don't care if it's a state or a country or a campsite, right? I don't care, whatever it is. It's all about WWE making sure they're serving all the various states, all the various territories, all the various countries, and get into them really before AEW do. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see WWE get to Australia again and get to Japan and get to maybe Europe, try and do something in Europe, Mexico. We've been in Canada, obviously, recently with Montreal. But I do think we're going to see WWE really reaching out to the world now, because there's a fight. There's a fight. And listen, what AEW have just achieved with Wembley, that has got to send shockwaves through WWE head offices. You know, we looked, if AEW can sell over 70,000 tickets, and according to Tony Khan, they've done 60,000. If they can sell over 70,000, this will be one of the top 20 most attended wrestling events ever in the world, ever. Top 20 ever. So we're talking history, and it's happening in the UK, right? An area that I think WWE would feel quite confident that they had a good control of, because they've done a lot of work in the UK, done a lot more work in the UK than Puerto Rico. And so this is definitely something that I think is going to send shockwaves through that head office. And I think that as a result, we could start to see them just going back around the world to make sure that they try and strengthen their relationships with the wrestling fans. Look, now we're seeing about sold out Birmingham tour. Manchester, this is them in the UK. WWE superstars amaze European fans. Belfast, Northern Ireland. Boogs, Cody there. Now we are in Paris, France. Paris comes out in full force for WWE. European fans serenade Seth Rollins for over 12 minutes. So we're just seeing shots from the recent European tour. That was good timing, wasn't it? That we were just talking about that. Right. Bianca in the ring. Let's see what she's got to say. Right. Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair, Io Sky. I'm so hyped to be right here in Puerto Rico. Tell you what, it must be a really exciting time to be a wrestler. I mean, just don't know where you're going to be going, do you? Tonight. Io is one of a kind. One of a kind. Anyone have Rob Van Dam's music in their head? I've flown all around the world defending this title. No matter what brand I'm on, I'm always going to show up and show out. EST chance. Huh? So she'll be the longest reigning women's champion of the modern era. So if she wins at Backlash, as soon as the clock turns midnight, she'll be the longest. You see, this is where switching the belts doesn't make any sense. Because what happens to that title reign? I'm guessing it. I mean, it obviously still continues, but it's just going to be that she was, I don't know, 330 days as Raw Women's Champ, but then however long was SmackDown Women's Champ. Damage Control have come out. So she said she'll be the longest reigning women's champ in the modern era. I don't quite know what that means. She's going to put an end to this history party you're excited about. I knew the crowd would not like that surprise. It means Roman is going for Bruno's record, says Hal. 1,000 days. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with Bianca, though. Bianca said that if she wins at Backlash, she'll be the longest reigning women's champ in the modern era. Now, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Rockin' Robin. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm sure we were all thinking it. Rockin' Robin. Damage Control in the ring. So, Rockin' Robin held the women's championship for 502 days. And she did that in the late 80s. So what's the modern era? Because I always think modern era refers to like since Vince bought the company, which was in 83. So anything since 83 is modern era. But I don't think it does mean that, actually. Because I don't think Bianca hasn't beaten 502 days. Damage Control start beating up Bianca, and Liv and Raquel have made the save. Liv and Raquel make the save. I really like what Bianca was wearing, by the way. She looked great in that like blue tracksuit. EO can't talk. You heard the World Championship tournaments, and that's by Triple H. 12 superstars, 2 winners will meet each other at Night of Champions on May 27th. I wonder if the women's title will be defended in Raw or SmackDown. Here's Carrion backstage. Lots of little clocks and imagery. It's quite Bray-esque, this, for Carrion. Tick-tock. Mr. Nakamura. Tick-tock. Very formal. Shinsuke Nakamura against Karrion Kross coming up tonight.
tonight.
I remember Bianca on TV show called College Game Day, said Jason. Are you a fan of Iron Chef UK? Never heard of it. Never heard of it, buds. Big Time Back said lots of buzz and intrigue around AEW. For whatever reason, Dynamite fell to 700,000 since April 2021 in a normal time slot. Just big disconnect with US fans. No, I think that what we're seeing with Wembley is taken on a life of its own. What's happening with Wembley reminds me a lot of when AEW started. It reminds me a lot of when they tried to get 10,000 people at first, you know? I don't think this might sound bad, but this is honestly how I feel. I think that Wembley selling 70,000 tickets, I think that's been sold in hope of the product getting better than a reflection as to where the product is now. I genuinely mean that. I think the ratings are a reflection of where the product is now. I think Wembley is a reflection of hope that the product will get better. I think there is a good chunk of people buying tickets because they want to see Kenny, they want to see the Burks and all of that. But that's only going to make up a small number, right? That's not going to make up the 70,000. I think the 70,000 or 60,000, sorry, at the moment. But I think the 60,000 is made up of AEW fans. But I also think it's took on a life of its own. I think there's hype around it. I think there's talk around it, buzz around it. I think it's everyone's talking about Wembley. Everyone's looking to see what the latest number is. And I think it's took a life on of its own. And I think people are buying tickets for CM Punk, who hasn't come back yet. But I think people have bought tickets for CM Punk. I think people have bought tickets potentially for Mercedes Moné, who hasn't stepped foot in AEW, hasn't said anything about AEW. But I think, I think it's took on a life of its own. I think there are people buying tickets because they expect this to be the biggest wrestling show, the biggest wrestling spectacular outside of WWE maybe that we've ever seen. The biggest spectacular, star-studded wrestling event at Wembley Stadium. I mean, to my knowledge, there's only ever been one other wrestling show at Wembley Stadium, and that was SummerSlam 92. So straight away, you're conjuring up images, subconscious images of that event and how historic was British Bulldog and Bret the Hitman Hart. That is one of the most historic wrestling matches in the history of wrestling. I mean, when we talk about the history of SummerSlam, it's an absolute no-brainer as to what one of the most, maybe it was the most iconic main event in SummerSlam history. I mean, that is going to be very debatable, but I would have no issue arguing that it is right up there in that conversation. And so, you're talking about one of the biggest wrestling crowds ever. You're talking about one of the biggest moments in UK wrestling history. And I think it just conjures up all these images. And you haven't even said anything other than we're going to go to Wembley Stadium. Well, the only other wrestling show that's happened at Wembley Stadium is SummerSlam 92. So it does subconsciously conjure up an event of that size, that scale, that magnitude. And I just think that it's took a life on of its own. I think that what you're seeing from ratings is competition. I think that I understand there was a game on, but to be honest, there was some sort of game on at the same time. So they took a hit. But if that game wasn't on, I bet they would have got their 830 again. Their 830,000. I think their ratings would have been exactly where they've been. It's just that there was a game on and they went down as a result. So the product, that is where the product is. That is where the fan base is. At the moment, the shows they're delivering are good enough to get them 800 and some thousand people. I think what's happening at Wembley is that is something a little different. It's took on a life of its own, and I think people are buying tickets because it is the first time them coming to the UK. There are going to be fans that want to see the AEW products. I think they could have sold 20,000, 30,000 tickets. But I think that because it's the first time, because it's Wembley as well, I think they have basically said to the fans, this is big. We are going all in. You do not want to miss this. Like, and it's hype. It's took on a life of its own. And so, you know, the 30,000 has become 40,000, has become 50,000, has become 60,000. They're on track to sell out. They're on track to sell out. They're on track to sell out Wembley, 90,000, and yet their domestic TV show just cannot get above 900,000. And actually this week delivered a 700,000. So I think there's a lot of hype and hope that that is going to be one of the biggest wrestling shows we've ever seen, that CM Punk is going to be there, that Mercedes Moné is going to be there, that maybe Okada is going to be there, that maybe New Japan are going to be involved, Ospreay is going to be there, Goldberg might be there, it could be Sting's last match, so on, so on, so on. I need to be there. I cannot miss this show. If you're a wrestling fan, you've got to be there. So on, so on, so on, so on, so on. That's no disrespect to AEW. That is, you know, that is just me calling it as I see it. I mean, all I'm doing is being honest. I just think that's what's happening at the moment. That's why the Wembley numbers are going crazy, but the TV numbers are not. Right, we've got Solo and we've got Usos. This could be interesting. Hayden, shout out to you, my friends. I'll get to your comment in a second, buds. I just want to see what this is going to be between Solo and the Usos. Okay. Jay, staring at Solo. My brother asked you a question. I heard the question. Bit of beef here. Tomorrow. I'll do my part. You two had better do yours. You just had to say something, didn't you? I like that from Jimmy. Oh, you just had to say something, didn't you? Here is Giovanni Vinci. Imperium minus Gunther. You just had to say something, didn't you? You had to say something. So Solo said, I'll do my part tomorrow. You'd better do yours. Okay, right. We've got Street Profits against Imperium. We are underway. Okay. Wrestle with Andy, shout out to you, buds. Yeets. JS17 said, Days, if I was to buy a ticket to AEW Wembley, and I won't because I don't care, okay, AEW as a brand, but it would be to see Jon Moxley. He was my favourite a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when was the last time Moxley was in the UK? When was the last time that Omega was in the UK? When was the last time the Bucks were in the UK? I don't think UK fans have ever had a chance to see Orange Cassidy. I don't know that he's ever been over. He may have done, and if he was, it was probably a little indie show. Maybe it was a Rev Pro and just no one knew about him. But it is undeniable that they are selling tickets because this is the first time that people are getting a chance to see them, right? No dispute for me on that. The only thing I would dispute is I don't think that number is 60,000. I don't think that number is 60,000. I think that you can halve it or something along those lines. Maybe 3/4, right? I'll be generous. I think there is a considerable number there of people buying for hype and expectation. I mean, there is not a single match that's been announced. It's not a single match that's been announced. It's very WrestleMania. It's very this in many ways this is like a WrestleMania. This is going to be, potentially 90,000 people. Only the second time being at Wembley Stadium. We've said if they can get over 70,000, it's the 17th most attended show in wrestling history. I have no idea where they would be if they got 90,000. If they got 90,000, I think they'd be top 5. Top 5 ever. I mean, it is huge history, and it's took a life on of its own. So I think that there are definitely AEW fans that are going, and it's the first time, and we want to see them and all that. I think there's a lot of hype and hope, and is Punk going to be there? Is Mercedes Moné going to be there? Is Goldberg going to be there? Could we see Sting? Is it the last time we'll see Sting? And as you said, there'll be people that would buy tickets, see Moxley, see Omega, see the Bucks. Street Profits pick up a pretty quick win here. It's really interesting. I love the conversation because it is so interesting to see this kind of, every day you're looking at a tweet from Tony going, it's gone up another 10. Like tomorrow, I fully expect him to tell me it's at 70,000 tomorrow or the day after. At some point, by the time we get to Monday, 70,000. And I just think that this thing is so interesting, certainly when you then look at their TV ratings, and their TV ratings are just so flat, stagnant. And we know they can get over 1 million, they just don't. Tell you what, great crowd. Crowd bouncing. Hayden said, Days, I'm so excited to watch King Charles's coronation tonight. The coronation will start at 10 p.m. in New Zealand time. I hope you are well. Cody coming up next. Hayden, shout out to you. I hope you enjoy it, bud. It should be a great spectacle. From what I've heard, I mean, obviously there's wall-to-wall coverage here in the UK on it. All the TV shows are talking about it. From what I've heard, it's going to be a bigger kind of procession. It's going to be a big show, bigger than the Queen's funeral, which I was really surprised at. You'd think the Queen's funeral would be it. You would think the Queen's funeral would be, we get every horse, every carriage, every armed soldier, every jewel. You'd think you wouldn't think you could get bigger than the Queen's funeral, but apparently this is bigger than the Queen's funeral. It kind of feels like we did the Queen dirty, to be honest. You mean there was more we could have done? You mean we didn't go completely all out for the Queen's funeral? Bit strange, but no, apparently this is going to be, massive deal. I know there's a lot of people that don't agree with monarchy and all that kind of stuff, but I do like that. I do like what I've heard from a lot of TV shows over here saying, look, if you're for the monarchy or against the monarchy, watch it if you want to watch it, and if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it, but allow those that want to just have a good time and celebrate and everything and have a drink and a street party, allow those to still enjoy it. And I very much subscribe to that mentality. So it should be good, man. Should be good. It's not something I'm going to watch personally because I'll be asleep. I'll be going to bed, getting ready for Backlash. But I'll definitely try and check out some of the highlights because I don't know. I mean, when your country is like celebrating, and there's people sleeping out, there's people that have been sleeping on the streets of London for this event for the past week. They've been interviewing them, and there's people that are so excited. I think this is definitely something that the UK does well. I think it's something that makes us stand out on the world stage. They talk a lot about the positive impact it has on our image around the world. I don't know. I mean, it's great to hear Hayden excited about it in New Zealand. I think that's awesome. But and yeah, if you get something from it, brilliant. If you're not for it, listen, it's a Saturday then, innit? The Backlash tomorrow. Don't worry about it. So yeah, Hayden, shout out to you, buds. John asks, are you doing a watch along for the coronation? I'm not, but I'll be asleep. I'll be asleep. But I hope those that aren't interested have a great day. You know, doing whatever you're doing. And I hope those that are interested watch it, enjoy it, and get something from it. It's it's just a celebration, really, of the country. I mean, I know not everyone sees it that way. I've seen a lot of people that think we should get rid of the monarchy on TV talking this week about why they feel so strongly against the monarchy and everything. So, you have to acknowledge that not everyone feels the same way, but I don't think everyone feels the same way on any subject, to be honest. Everything divides opinion in this day and age. So I think the best way to look at it is like, if you're celebrating it, have a great time. If you're not, have a great time. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. And what I'll be doing is sleeping and watching Backlash. Do you think Bray will come back tonight, said Schoolmoster. I don't, Buds. No, I don't think we'll see Bray tonight. I don't think they would take him to Puerto Rico to do something in Puerto Rico. I don't think so, anyway. We're backstage with Ray and Zelina. She must be loving this time in her career. If you think about all the stuff that she's done, and now she's in a group with Rey Mysterio, and she's got a title match in Puerto Rico, and this must be like such a highlight for her. I'm really pleased for her. Timothy said Charles can't measure up to his mother. Nah, man, she was special, wasn't she? I think for her to have that kind of impact around the world, where she just seems so respected. And again, I know not by everyone. I know, but I think I know the royal family is clearly, divisive. But a lot of people that you speak to, even those that aren't for the monarchy, even they would say, like, the Queen, fair play to the Queen. Fair play to the Queen. You might only get one life. Obviously, we don't know, but she spent hers going around meeting people and, serving, basically. Shaking hands, opening hospices, and going to, different communities, going to different countries in the Commonwealth, and just doing all that kind of stuff, Can't really go down to the football on a Saturday, can you? Can't just pop to the cinema. I mean, there are privileges, of course. But, yeah, I think she was so well respected. I don't think he'll ever measure up to the impact she had on the world. I mean, even WWE made an announcement when the Queen died. I think it was Michael Cole on Smackdown. Said, like, we'd like to send our condolences to the people of the UK after the sad news of, Queen Elizabeth passing. Maybe they would do that, like, for Charles and all that as well, but I don't know. It's just not the kind of thing you expect, really. But yeah, look, whatever. However you feel about it, it's a big day for the UK tomorrow. Right, we're just seeing Cody and Brock. I lost interest in wrestling, said JS17, from the end of 2021. All of last year, the Rumble grabbed my interest, and slowly my knowledge is coming back to me. Orton is still my favourite, and it's a shame that he's injured, said JS17. Yeah, he's. I think there have been, like, lapsed fans. I think that Triple H booking and Vince stepping aside has definitely brought some people back. I think the Bloodline story was doing good work. I think Bray coming back definitely helped. I think there's, like, a few bits and bobs like that. I mean, we've seen the ratings go from like 2.2 to 2.4 at times. I think they've kind of largely settled back down to where they were. So I don't know. I don't know how many people have returned. It's largely comparable, we're seeing some, well, they're shouting a lot about good social media numbers, etc. Actually, talking of numbers, I'll tell you what we should do whilst we're just waiting. There's going to be, it's a go-home show. It's going to be a lot of this kind of video package stuff. Let's do halftime scores. Halftime scores. scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. Okay, I was just reading some of the comments there. So Denis, 8 out of 9. Braden, 10 out of 10. The TLD with a 7. Free Your Mind with a 6. Zoe Killer with a 7. Tim said 10 out of 10. No Bray. Ha ha. Daniel, I went Alan Partridge there. Zoom Station with a 7. Stone 95 with a what was it? 6.5. Draco Arsol with a 6. Knight Rider 6.5. Justin, shout out to you, bud, with an 8. Anna with a 7. Delwyn with an 8. Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 with a 7. AB Jobson with a 9. Let Him In with a 7. Delwyn with an 8. Virus with the 7. We have got Cody coming out. Here he is. Cody steps out. This is how we're going to start hour 2 then. Cody Rhodes. About to blow. I got to say, I was at Wembley with Sheffield United at the FA Cup. There was a very large advertisement presence for AEW. It was everywhere, says Liam. 7.5. Liam, shout out to you, buds. Yeah, good point, because I was watching Man United Brighton in a FA Cup semi-final, and in the background it had banners for AEW. So definitely they're promoting it. I'm not seeing adverts on TV. There might be in newspapers. I don't know. I don't have or read newspapers. So they could have some of it in newspapers. I'm not seeing adverts on TV, but then I don't watch loads of live TV. But I did see that as well when I watched Brighton Man United FA Cup semi-final. So yeah, they are definitely promoting it, definitely shouting about it. But as I said, you know, I mean, I think if you're a wrestling fan, I'd be surprised if you didn't know it was happening. Certainly in the UK. Are you going to watch Sterling versus Cejudo, or does that get in the way of Backlash? I think it's in the way, but to be honest, it's a real shame, because that is a fight that I really want to see. It's not a bad card, to be honest. I mean, it is a pay-per-view. It's just, you know, this is where it's a bit silly. Dana was asked about this. Dana was asked, like, okay, now that WWE and UFC are under the same umbrella, will you try and avoid the big shows being on the same nights? And he said, I don't think we have much crossover of audience. And then I just sat there crying. Because I am a crossover of the audience. I mean, I'm right here. I'm right here, Dana. I'm right here. Oh. San Juan. Timothy, love to see your reaction if they made Dom the new champ. Let's go. Let's go. I'd love to see the reaction if that happens. Cody has come out. The Beast, the next big thing, the Cowboy. Woods. Brock. Booze. Booze for Brock. Gatekeeper. Oh. Ah, my old coach double A. Arn Anderson. The Kingdom. interesting from Cody. Yeah, I love this from Cody. This is really good. He says you can be a WWE superstar. You can go all around the world. You never have to fight Brock. But Brock is a gatekeeper. If you do go up against Brock and you beat Brock, you know, that is the keys to the kingdom. It's still true. I am afraid of Brock. Everyone should be afraid of Brock. I don't have any time to be afraid of Brock Lesnar. Tomorrow I bring the pain. I like that. There we go. Jason, shout out to you, bud. Hope you're well. Spurs Gamer said, I feel like if Zelina defeats Rhea, they could push her like they pushed Ray when he was new to the championship. Zelina really deserves a big push, according to me, said Spurs Gamer. Imagine we get Stardust at a future pay-per-view. What would you think? Stardust is Cody's best character. Brackets, just joking. Do you know, I mean, if we got Stardust, I actually would welcome it, because I think that Stardust character needs some redemption as well. That Stardust character was still Cody, and I suppose in a way it's an alter ego of Cody. I think it would be so great if we could repackage Stardust as Cody's demon in a way. You know, like it was an alter ego for Cody. So I know it's not going to be like the demon all dark and everything, but you can still make Stardust like, I mean, twisted, demented. He wasn't all there. He was, unpredictable, and, you know, it's different to the demon, and that's good. You don't want the demon again or the fiend again, you know. This is Stardust, and it's different. So if Cody did bring back Stardust, and not use him all the time, I'm not saying use the Stardust character all the time, but I'm just saying bring back Stardust and bring it back as a bit more of a unhinged Cody, a Cody that's not in control of himself. He kind of gives himself over to, you know, this other world, this other realm, this other entity. Not supernatural, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is him just like taking his hands off the wheel, you know? This is him taking his hands off the steering wheel and going, let's go. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I wouldn't mind a bit of redemption for Stardust. I wouldn't mind a bit of redemption for him. Because when he was Stardust, he worked damn hard, man. He worked damn hard. And even though the outfit was, you know, wacky, and the character was wacky, and all of this kind of stuff, and even though it never like massively connected, I wonder if there's a way that you could get it to connect in this modern day, and then it would just be a bit of rehabilitation for that character. I don't know. Maybe it's a really bad idea. I tell you what, that's one of those ideas where, you know, if you was sat in a room with other people and you was on the creative boards, you know, you might put that out there and go, listen, what do you think about this? If it got shot down in the room, you'd be like, okay, yeah, you're probably right. and then you just move on. But equally, it might be something that people go, do you know what? I think we could do something there. It would have to be presented right. I'm not saying just having come out and be like, you'd have to build it and explain it, and you'd have to have people understand. This would have been a fun feud, actually. If Cody had already become champion and had been in WWE for a while, and, he had already, say, lost to Brock, and he's, in order to beat Brock, I need to not care. I need to not think. I have to go to somewhere more primal. I have to not be in control. I have to take my hands off the wheel, because what stopped me last time was me. The reason I lost to Brock was me. It wasn't Brock. It was me. I'm the reason I lost, because I got in my own way, and I need to get out of my own way. I need to not be in control next time I face him. All of that stuff, you're like, okay, yeah, what's this mean? Where are we going? Like, I would find that intriguing. If you could then find a way of him going to Stardust, maybe you just alter the look a little bit. Right? Try and make it a touch more credible. Still the Stardust name. Tweak it a little bit. Make it look a little bit more credible. You understand why he's doing it. Have him beat Brock in that guise, in that look. All of a sudden, you've got a bit of a alter ego, I don't hate that. I really don't hate that. It's weird, isn't it? Because, like, you could sit here and go, make him Stardust. What, you want to bury him again? But that, I think that's a reaction from people that are not thinking about the kind of work you would have to do to make that work. Like, I think you could make it work, but it would take a lot of work to make it work. But, the easy response would be, to bury him? You want to just bury Cody by making him Stardust again? It's like, that's the easy reaction, isn't it? That's the simple thing to say. Like, the more intellectual thing to say would be, okay, you're in a room, Vince wants Stardust, make it work. How are you going to make Stardust work? Vince wants Stardust back, and you've got to make it credible and get it over with the crowd. How are you going to do it, right? And then you've got to find a way of making it work, haven't you? So, yeah, it's one of those. I think if I was in creative, I'd be tempted to pitch that. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. SmackDown layout is the same for Money in the Bank, says Jason. What, the layout tonight? The staging? I think I like it. I don't think we need these, like, massive... Well, we don't need the same stage every week for SmackDown. This feels different. It's time. Sammy and Kevin say it's time. There's nothing left for us to say. Nothing left to say. All right. Riddle likes that. So we just got a little backstage thing with Riddle and Sammy and Kevin. Obviously, we're building towards Kevin, Sammy, Riddle against the Bloodline. We heard from Solo and the Usos earlier. Shinsuke in the ring. Nakamura against Carrion. How long have we got? We've got 45 minutes left to go. Solo spikes the Usos tomorrow, says Andrew. Wrestlelandy said, how would you book the tag titles going forwards? Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we have spoke about the roster, and is it deep enough for two sets of tag champs? I think what it comes down to is how hard do you want the brand split to be? If you want it to be a hard brand split and you do not want champions going from different brand to different brands, well, then you've got to have two women's champs, two men's champs, two mid-card champs, two tag team champs. Like, you know, because otherwise you're going to have a tag team bouncing and a big champ bouncing back and forth. But I do just question if we've got the teams, the credible teams. Like, have we got 6 credible teams? Because I think you probably want about 6. I think ideally for a good, healthy division, you're going to want the champ involved in some, and then you're going to need like number 1 contenders. So you can't just get away with having like 4. I mean, you could have an injury and then you're down to 3. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like you could probably do with like 6, really. Have you got 6 really good teams? I mean, if you think back to the late 80s, you had the Bulldogs, you had the Rockers, you had the Heart Foundation, you had the Brainbusters, you had the Killer Bees, you had like Power and Glory and Natural Disasters and Money Incorporated. Not all quite at the same time. There's obviously overlapping, but that was a deep roster. That's one of the best times, one of the best tag divisions. I mean, it'd be interesting to go 1989. What was the tag division in WWE like in 1989? I mean, I can hit a lot of the names: Legion of Doom, Demolition, Power and Glory. You know, you can go through Colossal Connection with wasn't that Andre and Haku? You can go through like the names. I don't know that I'd be able to name every team that was around at that point. And I might be just slightly off, you know, one might have ended in 89, one might have started in 90 or something like this. But by and large, you know, you get my point. Like, there was good teams and there was plenty of them. Well, there was only 1 set of tag belts. There's only 1 set of tag belts back then. So I think if you're going to have 2 sets of tag belts, you're going to have to double that. And I just don't know that we've got those teams. I just don't think we've got those teams. I think you probably have if you have 1 division. If there's 1 tag division, I think you've got a decent division, to be honest. I mean, Pretty Deadly are coming up. Viking Raiders, OC, Street Profits, Usos. I mean, at the moment, Sammy and Kevin, but I don't think that's long term. Then you've got your teams like Los Lotharios, Hit Row, you know. I mean, you can certainly name a lot of teams, but are they good? I mean, it's different, isn't it? Are they good? Are they credible? I really think right now, looking at what we've got, I think I would want 1 set of tag belts. And I'd want to really, you know, build some stories, get some feuds going, have the champs defending, and do it that way. But there are rumors that we're going to look at having 2 sets of tag belts. I just don't know about that. I don't know if that is going to be the right way forward. We'll see. I mean, it's so hard to say, isn't it? Because really, we've done the draft, but we haven't seen any of the booking or anything yet. That starts Monday. I mean, Monday, Raw. Oh my God, that is so big. It's I'll put Riddle. That is so big. It's going to be the start of the Triple H era in many ways. You know, he's not playing with Vince's setup anymore. He's not playing under Vince's rules. Now he's got his own. This draft has been done the way he wants it to tell the stories he wants to tell. We've introduced the World Heavyweight title, the belt he wanted. It's his now. So I think from Monday, it's going to be so interesting to see, you know, what feuds we're telling, how we're telling them, what the shows look like. I think Monday is definitely a very important date when we talk about the history of WWE, because I think you can talk about Triple H taking over creative. That's big. But I think if you're going to look back at this time and do a documentary or do any sort of review of this period of time, I think you have to talk about Triple H taking over the booking. But I think you're going to have to talk about Monday, because Monday is really the first time Triple H is going to have the things he wants, the pieces that he wants to this puzzle in the places he wants them. I mean, this is a big step towards this being his, and, you know, him telling the stories that he wants with the people where he wants them. He hasn't been able to do that before. So, you know, we've heard a lot about how he's been waiting for this draft. And this draft is, you know, his opportunity to really, mold it in his vision. So Monday's a big deal. I mean, it's not all happening Monday. It's just starting Monday, and then we're off to the races. So I'm very interested. This whole weekend is so interesting because obviously we're in Puerto Rico right now, which is great. We've got a different flavor here. We've got Backlash tomorrow, which is the last show of the current roster. Then on Monday, the draft comes into effect. And so, as we said, this is quite an interesting weekend for wrestling fans, WWE fans. We are underway with this match between Nakamura and Cross. We was just at commercial break, by the way. Days, if CM Punk returns to WWE, and I don't think he ever will as a wrestler, I would have him come in as a heel and feud with Seth because of what Seth said about him. What do you think? Yeah, you could definitely do that. I mean, I think Seth's a good way of bringing him back in. We saw Seth be the person that Cody went up against. I think you'd have to have CM Punk go over, though. If you bring in CM Punk in, I think it's for a lot of money. I think it's going to be like Cody, but just turned up even more, to be honest. I think Nakamura kicking away at Carrion, Scarlett on the edge of the ring. Scarlett shouting at Nakamura. Nakamura going over. He gets caught by Carrion. Suplex by Carrion. So, yeah, I think Seth would be fine, but Seth would have to lose. And because I think it would be a case that we'd be looking to get CM Punk back. Bringing him in as a heel would be difficult, though, because people would be so excited to see CM Punk. How are you going to get them to boo him? Bringing him in as a heel, I think, would be really difficult. I think he'd have to come in like Cody. I think he'd be a face. Because people would be so excited to see him back. And he's such a big name. People would want to cheer him and, welcome home to him, and, sell his merch and everything. If you made him a heel, are people going to want to buy the merch of a heel? Certainly if you tell the story of he's anti-WWE and he's here to destroy WWE, a WWE fan's going to want to buy his merch then. And maybe some will, in an ironic way, because they'll know it's all just a story. But I don't know. I feel like you're probably holding him back if you brought him in as a heel. I think he'd have to come in like Cody. Nakamura with a suplex. So we are underway with this match. It is a match that's had some build. This is the only time I think they're going to face in the immediate future. Nakamura charging over, looking for the Kinshasa. Clothesline by Carrion. We got 36 minutes left to go. Scarlett on the outsides, writhing around. Carrion going for the pin. What happened to Riddle? Oh, he left. It was Nakamura Riddle, but he quit. And Karrion Kross took his place. But all things aside, All In will be massive success as a viewer. How are you enjoying the product? Are you looking forward to things? If you didn't have to stream, would you skip the shows? Hang on. Kick out. Knee strike there by Carrion. Nakamura down. And Carrion grabbing Nakamura, looking to suplex him, and he does. Lovely work. In regards to the show, I think I really lost patience with it, to be honest. I think as a regular viewer of Dynamite, I think it really hit the rocks around middle to end of last year. I think it wasn't until early this year we started to tell some stories again. I got to the point where I was like, I don't think I can do this. I'm not enjoying it. So I kind of gave it one last chance, and it was an all right show, and we got to Revolution and things did get better. But I would say the past few weeks, it sort of felt a little bit like it's starting to drift again, if I'm being honest. Nakamura with the Kinshasa, and we get the pin and the win. Yeah, I mean, I found this week was just not that great of a show. I didn't think this week was that great. we said during the watch long, we think they're probably just waiting for next week's cage match. So they've probably moved a lot into next week. And interestingly, I didn't even know there was a big game on this week. So all of a sudden then I was thinking, have they done this on purpose? Perhaps they've given us a bit of a flat show, a show where there's not loads that's happened, because they know they're not going to win against this sports game, whatever it was. And so then I started to wonder about that, because this week did feel flat. I mean, there was a moment where Switchblade Jay White came into the ring and the crowd just didn't react. And we spoke about it during the stream, and I'm still can't quite get my head around why, because you just think that is such a great sign-in for them, and it's perfect for their audience. But the crowd just didn't react to it, and he's new. And it made me wonder, I mean, like, are we just seeing, was it just a bad crowd? It could have just been a bad crowd. But are we now seeing AEW fans that just didn't watch New Japan? You know? Because when AEW first started, the fans knew about New Japan because that's where they'd all come from. Young Bucks had come from New Japan. Kenny had come from New Japan. Even Jericho had been over in New Japan. Cody had been in New Japan. When they announced AEW, I think they were stood outside the Tokyo Dome and they look at their phones, right? And it said AEW Double or Nothing. So, like, the connection with New Japan was always so strong. That's where they came from. And so it's so interesting that they've brought in this massive New Japan star, and now the crowd are just like, no reaction whatsoever. That's just not the reaction I expect from an AEW fan base. So I found that very interesting on Wednesday, and it really made me wonder as to whether we've seen like an evolution in that fan base, and now what we're seeing are AEW fans that love Orange Cassidy and Omega and everything, that just don't really watch New Japan or care about New Japan. But then saying that, it felt like Forbidden Door was successful. So I don't know. It's just might have just been a bad crowd. But I thought that this week was not great. I think there's things that they do which, you know, they did a tournament. For those that don't watch, they did a tournament, 4 Pillars tournament. And there's only the 4 Pillars are like meant to be the 4 key guys, right? They're the future. One of them's the champ now, MJF. And then you got 3 others. And they did this little tournament. But because there was only 3 others, they gave one a bye. And I just thought, couldn't you have just chucked someone else in, even if they beat them and still got to the final? Like, why did one of them have to have a bye and then get to the final, and then like the other 2 had to fight and whatever? So I found that a bit like, you know, just a little niggle thing. And then like one of the other guys turned around to the other one and said, if only people knew what you was really like backstage. You know, these people love you, but if only they knew what you was really like. And that was a face talking to another face. Right? That would be like Cody talking to Sammy and saying, these people love you, but if only they knew how awful you are backstage. I mean, it's mental. That's a mental thing to do for one face to say to another face. I mean, you are burying that person by saying that. You are burying them. And you go, I don't get this. I don't get this. And then I think like Daniel Bryan also did a little thing where he said that he loves AEW. He wants it to be the best promotion. He wants to see everyone succeed. And he's a heel. He's a heel. And there's people saying, it's how he wants to do it that's the problem. But it's like, but that doesn't come across in the promo, does it? If I'm watching this program as a wrestling fan, and this guy's saying, I want AEW to be the best, I want the, you know, people to get on, look at what I'm doing with Wheeler Yuta kind of stuff. I don't feel like I want to boo that person. So I don't know. They seem to be getting in their own way. Like, rather than just doing the good, simple, traditional kind of heel face stuff, they're trying to be clever, and I just think they're getting in their own way. I just think they're overthinking it and just complicating it, and it's just the end results just become wishy-washy. So I don't know. I don't need an alternative to WWE. I love WWE, so they don't. I don't watch that show and I don't root for it to like desperately succeed. I need this to succeed. I don't have that because I love WWE. It doesn't matter to me if AEW succeeds or fails. So I think that means I can watch it a lot more from a balanced viewpoint. You know, if it succeeded and was killing it every week, I'd tell you. I mean, I think what they've done with Jamie Hayter has been really good. And I think there's definitely been some good storylines as well. I think they have done some good things. There's been some really good matches. But there's just some stuff going on there that you just kind of go, and there's nothing Bloodline. There's nothing Bloodline. There's nothing, no storyline they're telling that is as great as that. There's nothing like Bray or Cryptic or anything like that. They ain't got anything like that going on. Like one of their longest reigning champions, Jade Cargill, her matches tend to be pretty awful. You know, you look at the ratings and they're stagnant. They're not in a great place. Not that that should matter about the quality of the show, but like, I don't know. You do look at it and you just think, well, you know, if I'm seeing a few things that aren't sitting quite right with me, and then you look at the ratings and they're stagnant. They're not in a great place. And now this week they've dropped. You can't, you know, all of a sudden you start putting the pieces together and you go, something isn't right here, is it? Something's not right. Something doesn't feel right. Which is why their numbers from Wembley, I think, are just so important at the moment, because that really is something for them to shout about. That really is something for them to go, look at this, look at this, look at how great we're doing, you know? Here's Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes. I'm going to show the world. Oh, here's Baron Corbin. Who's Cameron Grimes? You as the last pick. It's like worse than not being picked at all, because of course Corbin wasn't picked. The last pick, you are Mr. Irrelevant. Okay, so Grimes Corbin next week. I like how Corbin turned around. He's like, I am just as important as Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was a free agent. I'm a free agent. I can go where I want, where I'm needed. And Adam Pearce was like, doesn't quite work that way. Okay, Cody and Brock to the... Scott said Grimes and Corbin feud sounds pretty good to me. Austin 316 will not be going to be happy because Corbin has not been drafted, says Hayden. Oh, he's happy. He got the Roman result right at WrestleMania. He's still dining out on that, isn't he? Right, they're just running through the card at the moment. They're gambling with Wembley that it'll be their WrestleMania one. I don't think they can make it happen, said John. Well, they've done 60,000, but... And tickets, I think, only went on sale today. So, I mean, I don't think they do the 90,000, but honestly, I think whatever it ends now, I don't think it's a failure. Even if it ends on, say, 62,000. For some reason, they only sell 2,000 more tickets now. 62,000 is still an incredible... I'd have to look at the list to see where it would rank. There is honestly not many shows that have drawn 62,000 people. And also, they've already been justified for not doing Fulham, because Fulham can only hold, I think, less than 30,000. You know, if they'd have only sold, say, 18,000 tickets, that's a disaster. But to have sold 60,000, you are going to need a big stadium. I mean, maybe you could have done Tottenham, and you know, maybe Twickenham, but there's not many places in London that can hold 60,000. So all of a sudden, the choosing Wembley, I think, has already looks like, yeah, that was probably the right call. So Bad Bunny on stage, and Damian Priest held back by Triple H. Boyaka. Is there no Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny's here, isn't he? Oh, he'll probably come out at the end. Like I care, but I would like him there for these fans. Right, Rey Mysterio and Zelina versus Rey and Dom. Oh, she's looking lovely, isn't she, Zelina? Has she changed her? I think she's changed what she's wearing, hasn't she? She is so small. Zelina is a foxy chick. She is, man. She looks great. Change the boards. Change the boards. Bunny used to be friends when they faced Morrison and Miz. Not anymore, said Hayden. 60,000 with no matches. People trying to spin it negatively, says Rom. Bad Bunny went to the Met Gala, hung out with his model girlfriend, Kendall Jenner, and now he's in PR for WWE. What a happy ass Bunny. Is he going out with Kendall Jenner, is he? He's in a relationship with Kendall Jenner. I didn't know that. I've heard of her. I couldn't point a picture of her, but I've heard of her. Omos and Matt Riddle are in a locker room cooking some crack. Well, you know, got to keep busy on these road trips. If they've sold 60,000, they need it to be a sellout. When they set up Wembley, they issued a challenge both to WWE and themselves. No quarter asked, none given, said John. Nah, you see, I disagree. I don't think when they booked Wembley that it had to be a sellout. Why did it have to be a sellout? If you book Wembley, you're booking Wembley because you need a space big enough to house the number of people that you're hoping to attend. So if they book Wembley and they only drew 20,000, well, I can give you a list of about 10 stadiums that can hold 20,000 in the London area, right? So all of a sudden, 90,000 Wembley looks stupid. That looks silly, okay? If you book Wembley, though, and you do 60,000, I can't give you a list of 10 stadiums that can hold 60,000 in London. In fact, I don't even know if I can give you 10 stadiums in England that can hold 60,000. I don't know where we are with Anfield at the moment. I know you've got Old Trafford's. I think you've got the Tottenham Stadium. I don't think Arsenal can. I don't think Stamford Bridge can. Chelsea. I don't think Arsenal can. I don't think Chelsea can. Not sure about Liverpool. I don't think Man City and the Etihad can. So this is my point. Like, if they've run some numbers that say we reckon you'll sell 67,000 tickets, okay? We reckon you'll sell 60. We've done the numbers, looking at the engagement, looking at how many views we're getting in Europe and like how popular everything is. We reckon that we can do 67,000 tickets. Okay, so what venue are you going to go for if you reckon you can do 67,000, right? Where are you going to go? Because if you can get Wembley and that's 90, do you just roll the dice? Do you go for it? Because I would. I'd go for it. 60, even if you only get the 67,000, still going to look like a really good crowd inside Wembley. Really good crowd. And you might be able to convince more once that momentum rolls, once that momentum is going. then, you can really start getting somewhere, can't you? And you might be able to get to 70, 72, 73, 75, 80. You might sell out. Who knows? But I think the idea that this is a failure if they don't sell out, I can't subscribe to that. I can't subscribe to that. I mean, I'll call it up. Let's have a look. Biggest wrestling attendance ever. Roman Reigns returns next week. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, there's only 4 shows that have had more than 90,000 attendance. In fact, there's only 4 shows that have had more than 80,676. So if they were to get 81,000, would that be a failure? Because that would put them 5th on the all-time list of wrestling shows. They only got 5th. They only got 5th on the all-time list. And can I just point out as well that the top 2 are Clash in Korea, where apparently those people were forced to go because it was in North Korea, and they wanted to make a show of unity and have the people come out. So my understanding is a lot of those people were told to attend. So 1 and 2 on that list is Collision in Korea Day 1 and Collision in Korea Day 2. In North Korea, they got 150,000 and 170,000. So I don't know how much. I mean, I think they're legit numbers. Even those numbers might not be totally accurate, but I believe them to be physically the most attended shows. But there's big asterisks and caveats next to that. In fact, I mean, 60,000. Let me count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. $60,000 is already putting them in the top 50. 48 just for 60,000. This is already one of the top 50 most attended wrestling shows ever. Just having over 60,000. Top 50 most attended wrestling shows ever. Honestly, outside of the WrestleManias, you've got the odd Tokyo Dome show from New Japan, of course. And a lot of Tokyo Dome, actually, from the late 90s. A lot of 90s Tokyo Dome stuff. But you've got a lot of Tokyo Dome stuff, which I think is capped at about 65. Then you've got a chunk of WrestleManias that's above those. Then you've got the odd exception, like Collision in Korea. And there's a Jim Londis fight from... Jim Londis, Greece, got 80,000 in 1933. Just a real random exception. But that's it. I mean, honestly, this is such an achievement. I just cannot get on board with the idea that if they don't sell it out, they failed. So far removed from what I'm looking at. Right, we all of that just to get them down into the ring, and we are underway. So Roman Reigns returns next week. We've got Rey Mysterio and Zelina against Rhea and Dominic. No Austin Theory or anything on that one tonight. Nice Zelina trying to get Rhea Ripley down. Did you see Trinity's debut? I thought the segment was fun. Visually, it looked a bit rough and it was dark in a warehouse. I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it. Nice head scissor takeover by Zelina. It might be on YouTube. I'll try and watch the clip of it. I did want to watch it. I seriously hope, as a huge WWE fan, that AEW huge numbers at Wembley, if they do, it increases the chances of Mania coming to London, said Liam. I agree. There's no way WWE will want them to have a record attendance. I agree. That WWE is not going to want AEW breaking their records and whatever. I mean, the positive though is that I don't think they can. I don't know if they. I don't think they can break the Wembley one. Can they? Can they? Right, we've got Dominic in there with Ray. Record wrestling attendances. Might as well just have this pinned. I keep going through it so often. Listed as 78, actually, so they could beat it. According to this, 78,000 for SummerSlam 92. So yeah, they could beat it. In fact, they probably will beat it. Because they're at 60,000, aren't they? And they've got to beat 72. That's interesting. So, they are on track to have a bigger attendance than SummerSlam 92. Because this is a slightly bigger stadium. It's in the exact same place. But it is, the old stadium got knocked down, I don't know, about 20 years ago. And they rebuilt a new one on the same bit of land. Same place, absolutely same, but it's still Wembley and everything, but it is a new stadium on the same patch of land. So it is still Wembley, but it is a bigger Wembley. We are at commercial break. To the moon! First time there's a break in a live event place, never seen till today. Tony Khan is in the hot seat with the Wembley show, said I'm Kyle. WrestleMania had over 80,000 on both nights, so matching that with Wembley is likely Tony's goal, says John. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. As I said, it honestly could be, because no one expected Wembley to be announced. I mean, my reaction was when he said, we're going to London, my first reaction was Fulham. Everyone expected Craven Cottage because they own Fulham Football Club. And they haven't been here before, so it's a bit bigger than the O2. They've already got the stadium. It's technically a stadium show because it's a stadium. It's not a big stadium, but it would be you could sell it as a stadium show. So you go Craven Cottage. And then he said Wembley. And as soon as he said Wembley, my first thought was then Wembley Arena, which is a venue like the O2. Holds about 20,000 indoor arena. You go Wembley Arena, and then he said stadium, and you go, what? Like, what? So many people laughing at that decision. I mean, I honestly don't think you book Wembley and hope. I really don't. I really don't think, as a businessman, you sit there and you go, should we book Wembley and hope that people come? There must have been some sort of indicator that said, this is the number we expect you to get. There must have been. Because there is no way that you would book Wembley and go, well, I really hope people turn up, man. I really hope. This could backfire. The amount of money it's costing us to put this show on. Oh, my God. I think there must have been some conversation, say, we reckon you could get this number, that then made Wembley a viable option. But I really, really, really do not think, I have no idea that number was, we reckon you can do 90,000. I don't know that was the number. I mean, listen, they could get there. It could get there. They're at 60. And the tickets only went on sale today. So they could sell out. This whole conversation could just be irrelevant. Because they could sell out. But I think the conversation for me is, it's very interesting to know where people feel the failure line is. Where's the failure line? Where's the line that if they don't sell this amount, they've failed? I think they've already passed it. I think they're in the 60,000 mark. And for me personally, I think they've already passed that failure line. That failure line would have been below 55, 50. So I think in the 60s, I think you've justified having a stadium of that size now. But obviously, they're going to want more, aren't they? Right, we are back from commercial break. Wow, we've only got 9 minutes left. Good crowds. Bit of a go-home show, wasn't it? Promos, talking about tomorrow. It's been great crowds. It's been a fun show. Love the different entranceway. Fun main events. Rhea smiling at Ray. But it's all about tomorrow. This whole show has been about tomorrow. It's very much a go home. Mocking Eddie or mimicking Eddie there from Rhea. Like a chin breaker. Chin breaker from Zelina, who tries to make the tag. She gets grabbed by Rhea, picked up in the air. She lands on her feet, stumbles back into the corner. Rhea charges over. Rhea goes into the ring post as Zelina moves out the way. So Rhea is down. Zelina is down. Finn on the outside, trying to give encouragement to Rhea. Zelina trying to get over to make the tag, but Rhea gets kicked back there by Zelina. Zelina tags in Ray. Ray and Dominic coming in. Crowd getting hot as we're getting towards the end of this one. Against the ropes goes Ray. Duck underneath by Ray. Springboard crossbody. Lands on top of Dominic. Into the corner goes Dominic. Ray with Dominic. Nice work. Ray on the shoulders of Dominic. Shots coming in. Face first. Into the corner goes Ray. Dominic drives Ray down to... Nice shot there by Zelina. Dominic goes down. Rhea coming into the ring. In between the ropes to the outside goes Zelina. Against the ropes goes Ray. Round the houses. Dominic in position for the 619. Ray. Looking over at Rhea, who's preventing it, but Zelina grabs her. That's going to mean that Ray can deliver the 619. Connects. It's funny, isn't it, how he didn't want to fight his son. Now he just loves it. He loves nothing more, man. Beating up his son is like his favorite thing now. Dominic with a shot to Ray. Dominic has got Ray up in the air looking for a suplex. Three amigos. Shades of the... We do too much of that now. There's so many homages paid to Eddie. 1, 2, 3. Ray steals it. So Dominic was doing three amigos. Ray just manages to get into a small package and literally just steals the victory. Wade said that is meaningless when you're at the boots of the Judgment Day. We need the rest of the LWO to come down. It's a win for Judgment Day. For Ray, sorry. But Judgment Day have attacked after. So Ray picks up the win. Little small package. Here's Damien. That's going to bring out Bad Bunny. Damian Priest in the ring. Oh, who's going to save Ray? Who's going to save Ray? There isn't anyone. Oh, it turns out there is, you know. Bad Bunny is making his way down with the LWO. This place just went bananas, man. This is mental. This is mental. This is like, I feel like I'm watching a parallel universe, man. Santos Escobar. don't know what they're chanting. Bunny sucks. I don't think they're chanting that. This crowd is so hot for him. He's got a kendo stick. For some reason, Damian Priest doesn't. Dominic Mysterio gets walloped with the kendo stick. So, Ray manages to get the win. Judgment Day attack. Bunny makes the save. So, we've got Judgment Day on the outside of the ring. We've got LWO in the ring with Bad Bunny. They've got an LWO shirt for Bad Bunny. Bunny throws his jacket into the crowds. Bunny makes the save. But when was the last time WWE was in Puerto Rico? I think it was a long time ago. Didn't someone say it was nearly like 20 years or something? Right. Let's go into the poll. All In Event Days is probably the most threatened WWE has been since around 2021 when they were making waves. I agree. I think this is definitely something that's going to send some shockwaves and concern through WWE. But as a WWE fan, that is something I welcome because you want them to be on their toes. You want them to feel threatened. You want them to, not have everything their own way because we know that things can get complacent and stale. So, as I said, even if you are like a hardcore WWE fan, I really don't think this is something that should be viewed as, something that's really horrific and, oh, God, it's all coming to an end, or I don't know. I think part of the problem is it's so tribal that I think if you engage with hardcore, say, AEW fans that are obviously going to be very happy about this news, and if you're a hardcore WWE fan and there's loads of hardcore AEW fans that are like goading you and gloating about it and all that kind of stuff, I can see that kind of tribalism just really taking over, But as I said, I think this is just great for wrestling. I really do. I think it's great for WWE. They might not want to admit it, but if you can turn around to the superstars and be like, look, we've got a real fight in our hands here. We've got to bring out our A games, and you just get that kind of team spirit going. You get everyone digging in. You just get that little bit extra out of people. It should result in just that little extra on the shows and just focuses everyone. Everyone just becomes that little hungrier. Things become that little more important, and it's just those little edges, isn't it? It's just those little edges. That can go missing, that can go soft, and then that's when the product can just be a little bit flat. So it's good. So it's got to be a positive for wrestling that there's this happening at the moment. I've gone for a 7.5 to 8 range. I thought it was a fun show. Crowd are awesome. What's your score? Mitchell, shout out to you, but I would probably be 7.25 to 7.5. There was nothing OMG here. So again, that immediately rules out the 8s for me. I don't think this was particularly a bad show, but I don't think there was much on this show that if you didn't watch this show, did it matter? I would probably say no. If we had all gone into a coma and had slept through tonight, and then literally we rocked up tomorrow to Backlash, did we need anything? Did we miss anything tonight? Was there anything that happened here? Like, I'd have to say no. So I think for that reason, it was a go home. So they did what they had to do, and that was basically tell you about what you can expect tomorrow. But as someone that already knew what I was getting tomorrow, did this show do much for me? Well, it gave me a different entranceway. It gave me a different flavor. We got different crowds. It had excitement from that regard. So I certainly don't think this was a bad show. But I can't say this was, in the 8s or certainly not in the 9s or anything like that. I'd probably be like 7.25, 7.5. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. But yeah, there probably wasn't anything that, if someone was like, oh, I missed SmackDown last night, can you bring me up to speed? I'd just be like, don't worry about it. We were in Puerto Rico. It was fun. Felt a little bit different, but as long as you watch Backlash, that's all you need. Meltzer thinks AEW in 2021 could have booked a stadium a long time ago, but they were worried that the US fan base wasn't as strong, said Big Time Baxter. Maybe. Lex Bliss Gamer gives it a 7.5. Mike said 6.9. J-Love said the crowd was a 10. Ray continued it, like not at all. The show was a 10 for me. It was entertaining from start to finish, says Bryson. Mr. Business said the crowd made it great. X Music said, how was your night? It was good. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. As Set the Table Smackdown for tomorrow, it did its job, said John, but that is all. Yeah, I agree. The audio seems to be a little bit out, does it? It doesn't say that it's dropped any frames or anything, so that's interesting. Don't know. Certainly nothing looking wrong this end. Well, it doesn't matter, 'cause we're ending soon anyway. I didn't expect much from this, but it did get me excited because of that crowd, said Theodore. Yeah, I agree. Crowd, if you're talking about this show, you have to talk about this crowd. Triple H, being in creative, hasn't really budged AEW creative to get any better, said Big Time Baxter. Yeah, but that is showing in the ratings, isn't it? It's not, they haven't responded, and their show's ratings are, haven't responded either. And as I said, I think for me, this is why the Wembley situation is not I suppose in a way it's an anomaly. This is the first time of them coming to the UK, and this is, a big show. They've announced the Wembley Stadium. No one thought they'd do Wembley Stadium. They've done 60,000 tickets, and those tickets have only been on sale on the first day today. Who knows where it's going to finish up? It's such this is why we've spoke about it so much, because it's so interesting to look at the TV ratings, look at what we're doing with the ticket sales, and have the conversation about why are the two seemingly in such a different place? Why are the ratings so flat and stagnant in America, but yet in England we're selling out stadiums and all this kind of stuff? I find it a very interesting conversation. They need a bigger event, like I said. They're underrated, and they could see that, says Juan. Is Brock Cody main eventing tomorrow? I don't think so. I mean, I think the main event tomorrow could be Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. I mean, I've seen Bad Bunny on the poster for this. I think we're in Puerto Rico. You've just seen the reaction he's got. This is the place that, this is the one place in the world where he's going to get reactions on this scale. I mean, his reactions have never been bad in America, for example, but they've never been this passionate. He is like a god, a hero to the people of Puerto Rico. And he is definitely someone that I think divides opinion in wrestling. I'm personally not a big fan, but he's a big star there. He's a big star. And I think that they could go with that being the main event. I think it'd be hard for Cody and Brock to follow Bad Bunny and Damian Priest unless you open with it. But I don't think you'd open with it, because I think a lot of people buying tickets probably want to see Bad Bunny. So I think there's a really good chance that that'll be the main event. It could be Cody Brock. I just think it would be really hard for them to follow. I mean, you just saw the pop he got there. We have to acknowledge this is, to use a WWE phrase, bizarro world. They used to say that Raw after WrestleMania was Bizarro World. This is the night where our fans cheer for the heels and, well, cheer for the bad guys and boo the good guys. It's all reverse and everything's strange. It's Bizarro World Raw after WrestleMania. Certainly wasn't this year. Well, I feel like we're in Bizarro World here. So Bad Bunny just getting an incredible reaction. And as expected. And so I think there's a good chance he main events tomorrow. But it could be Cody Brock. They might look at it and go, well, you know, whatever happens with Bad Bunny, we're still going to present Cody as, you know, the big star and Brock as the big star he is. But it's just, I don't know, it's going to be tricky to follow that street fight unless you do the street fight like not the co-main, but like you do that, then you do like a bit of a quieter match in between. I don't know if they've got a quiet match. I'm trying to think if they've got a quiet match. What would be like the Seth and Moss, maybe? Because I don't think that's one that's had much build or people are going to massively care about. So maybe people lose their minds at Bad Bunny. And then the match that you kind of settle down and you just, you know, regroup is Seth and Amos. And then you get to the main event, so you just put that little buffer in there, you know? Just a little buffer, which just allows people just to recharge after they've cheered for Bad Bunny and everything. Then maybe they recharge with Seth and Amos and then you can do Cody and Brock. I don't think you'd want to do Bad Bunny and then do Cody Brock straight after. I don't think that would be a good idea. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll find out together, won't we? We'll find out. I don't think they've actually officially announced anything. Amos is the quiet match, says Mike. Amos will probably kick off again, said Serious Gaming. It's probably because everything is more enjoyable live than just on TV, said Asib. Kenny comes to WWE and goes after the US title, said Bryson. Maybe Snoop will show. Let's go. Let's go. I tell you what, the only Bad Bunny match I want to see is him against Snoop. And I want Snoop winning with his devastating people's elbow. That's what I want. Let's go. Bad Bunny will know at the end of his gig what's up. But what time does it start tomorrow? Well, our stream, I think, starts at 10. I think the kickoff show's at 12. This is UK time. So I think that's 5 Eastern. And 10 Eastern for the kickoff show. Would that be right? Hang on. I might be getting myself confused here. 5 Eastern, 7 Eastern for the kickoff show, 8 Eastern for Backlash. So we're starting 2 hours before the kickoff show. So we're starting 3 hours before Backlash. Which, we, you know, look, it's a pay-per-view. We're going to be... One thing we can do is talk, right? And so you want to talk about AEW, we can do it. You want to talk about the WWE and the draft and the tournament and all of that, we can do it, right? You want to talk about whatever you want to talk about in wrestling, we can do it. So we've got that period of time before the kickoff show. When the kickoff show's on, to be honest, I mean, the kickoff show doesn't tend to provide much these days. Even that just tends to be video packages, but, you know, whatever, you never know. There's the odd interview and whatever. We obviously have to watch that. And then Backlash will begin. So, yeah, plenty for us to focus on, get our teeth into. It's going to be a long one tomorrow. Hence why there's just no way we can do UFC because, I mean, I think they're actually on at the exact same time. So, but yeah, we're going to be doing plenty of streaming before, plenty of streaming during. And then, of course, I'll get my 1 minute breakdown. I love doing those. And I'll do it for tonight as well. Those recap videos. Really appreciate people taking a minute of their day to check them out. They're only a minute long. And it literally just goes through everything that happened on the show. I really enjoyed doing them, actually. So I'm looking forward to doing tonight's. That should be up within the next couple of hours. Obviously, I need to go to do them, but I'll just get a few more comments first. Wrestle with Andy, shout out to you, buds. Big Drew winning the title would be crazy if he didn't go back to WWE. Big Drew winning the title would be crazy if he didn't go back to WWE. Winning the AEW title at Wembley Yes. Imagine that. Imagine if he hadn't gone back to WWE and AEW picked him up. You're right. That would be crazy. Justin, shout out to you, bud. Appreciate you stopping by. Grant Jameson as well, the living legend, said Snoop versus Bad Bunny versus Shaq. Triple threat dream match. Let's go. Let's go. Do you think Solo will turn on the Usos tomorrow? Bit torn on that, to be honest, because they've teased it and they've made it seem like it's going to happen. But is that just a swerve? Is it just a swerve where they've made you think it's going to happen and then it doesn't? I really don't know. I don't know. I can't tell if they're going to do it or if they're going to just keep teasing it, you know? I don't know. I'll be so... That could be the big talking point. Because to be honest, you know, if Brock beats Cody or Cody beats Brock, whatever the result is, you know, that'll be a talking point. But I don't know how big of a talking point. Maybe if it's going to be the squash, right? Maybe if it is going to be a squash, that will be a big talking point. And again, that might just... If they do go that way, that might be their thinking. You know, if Cody beats Brock, then, you know, Cody's beating Brock, blah, blah, blah. If Brock beats Cody, Brock's beat Cody, blah, blah, blah. If it's a squash, that's going to get a much bigger reaction. That's going to get a lot more people talking. So, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it's not a squash, you know, it's still relevant, but like, it's not massive. I don't think it's massive. But I do think that if Solo turns on the Usos and we get some real development with the Bloodline story, like we are now officially going into a whole new phase for the Bloodline. Like the Usos are out. And now it's Solo, Roman, really against the Usos. That's big. That's big. That's really big. And that could be a real fun way of just kicking off this new draft brand split. Oh my God, you need to watch Friday. What's going to happen? Yeah, I mean, they could be teasing it and then it doesn't happen. A bit like how Solo was coming down but Riddle interrupted, you know? And so I think that was last week, wasn't it, on SmackDown? They teased it then, you know, and it didn't happen. And so they could do something like that again. But man, yeah, I hope they do it. I hope they do it. I hope he turns on him. Because I think that story needs, you know, we've teased stuff and we've, you know, there's little looks and all this, but you need some to get your teeth into. And that would definitely be it, wouldn't it? Solo does attack the Usos. And that'll be interesting. And we know that Roman's on the show next week as well. So if he does it, we know we'll hear from Roman. It'll be interesting to see what he'd have to say. So, yeah, interesting. Canada's known as Bizarro World, says Jim. Jim, shout out to you. How about the exciting announcement? You promised you would announce it to people living in the UK. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow, Hayden. Don't worry, you'll hear about it. Bloodline story really struggling without Roman helping, giving it a little injection of new life. Mm-hmm. Is that your prediction? Solo turning, said Christopher. No, I mean, look, I definitely think the Bloodline lose, and I definitely think that situation worsens. Does it worsen to the point of them imploding? Actually, Solo, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know that I can sit here and say that that's, you know, definitely going to happen. I think there's a good chance of it. They've teased it. I think we can all, you know, we all watch the shows. We can all see the little looks, the little moments and everything. So they've definitely teased it. It's definitely a direction they could go. I think it's something that we'll be looking for and everyone will be looking for during that match. But is it just going to be a fake out? Is it just going to be a tease and we don't actually get it and we just continue doing what we're doing? You know, do you just keep building that moment, you know? Because when it happens, it'll be a big thing. So if you do it now, is it as big as you can make it? Could you make it even bigger? You know, could you have Solo go in to do it a few times, but something just keeps getting in the way? And it's just, is it now? No, it's not now. And the Usos still don't know that it's coming. And it's, you know, and it's, you're teasing it. How long can you do that for before people lose interest? You know? So, I don't know. It's a very interesting conversation. Have they done enough to do it now? Or do you keep teasing it and building it and getting that anticipation? You know? In many ways, it's like Sammy, isn't it? I think we all knew that Sammy was going to turn on the Bloodline, or the Bloodline were going to turn on Sammy, and, you know, something was going to happen there. And it was just when? It was just when? When is it going to happen? And then when it finally happened at the Royal Rumble, it was such an amazing moment. It's an amazing moment. And that's because it had been built so well. Well, this feels a little similar, not the same, but a little similar in the sense of you sort of know it's coming and it's being built and it's being teased, but it's an interesting conversation as to when do you pull that trigger? Do you do it at Backlash? Do you keep teasing it? Do you keep waiting? Do you do it at Night of Champions? You know? Do you do it at SummerSlam? Could you have it so that like Cody wins the title and it's that sparks Solo turning on the Usos? You know, I mean, like not only does Roman lose the belt, the Bloodline's imploded. Maybe SummerSlam. I mean, what? It's May. I mean, SummerSlam I think is July, August. I mean, you've got a way to go there, haven't you? So you probably ain't going to make it that far. I think there's a great chance it happens tomorrow. I think there's a great chance, but I can't put a guarantee on that, of course. I think Christopher Daniels and AEW wrestlers are in creative with Tony. Not really the best team to put together captivating stories, says Big Time. Dave Meltzer was off with Punk news, mentioning Larry the Dog. Punk as a clause. He's getting a release, lawyers, yet people buying into Drew story. I don't know what that is. Maybe they're going to start with the United States Championship match tomorrow. Maybe. Alvarez is jealous he couldn't make it as a wrestler. I'll be honest, I don't know what this conversation is. I haven't seen any Alvarez or Meltzer comments, so I don't know. The Wi-Fi out here is shocking. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't matter because I need to shoot and do this 1 minute breakdown thing. Really appreciate people joining us. Hope you enjoyed SmackDown. Thought it was good. I thought it was pretty fun. Don't forget, we are back tomorrow. Big stream tomorrow. It's not often, you know, I mean, we don't often get these pay-per-view shows. They only come round like once a month, and not even that sometimes. We didn't get one at all in December. So, yeah, it's nice. It's good. It's a bit weird, this one, because obviously we're coming off the back of WrestleMania, which was massive. Rumble as well, earlier this year was massive. Even Elimination Chamber in Montreal with Sammy felt such a big deal that, I don't know, this Backlash doesn't measure up to those. I don't think that's unfair to say it's not as big as WrestleMania or it's not as big as the Royal Rumble. Is it even as big as Sammy in Montreal? I mean, I would argue no. But I do think that being in Puerto Rico, and I think the Cody Brock main event is very interesting. I think the Uso tease is very interesting as well. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. There's a lot to get your teeth into and speculate about. And obviously we've got the draft coming up as well on Monday. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes things as well. So as I said earlier, however you're looking at this show, I think we can all agree it's a big weekend. And we can agree that it's certainly a weekend of big seismic change. And who knows where we'll be by this point next week. So looking forward to it. So have a good rest. Enjoy the coronation if you are enjoying that, watching that. If you're not, I hope you enjoy doing whatever you're doing. And I will be back tomorrow, ready, willing and able to cover the show, and enjoy whatever's about to go down. Awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.